onWURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with Word. Kawesa is out today, and Jordan sitting in, running the board capably as always. And it's a little bit rainy today, a little bit misty, and so we're going to try to enjoy that anyway. I didn't bring my umbrella, so I'm hoping that I don't get trapped in that, man. Whole lot going on around the country, whole lot going on in here. I am in here cleaning up. And so, you know, we feel a little bit like Hazel, but, you know, we making it happen, doing what we got to do. But I'm telling you, it's a lot going on, not just in Philadelphia, but also in Washington, D.C., with the Washington Redskins. Of course, you know that the team is going to be changing their name. They're going to be changing their name. We don't know to what yet. There are some folks out there trying to take advantage of that. One dude bought up and trademarked all the names he thought they might name the team so that they would have to pay him if they wanted those names, which is kind of weird, but that's what he did. So, but the other thing that's going on, the Washington Post did an investigation of the culture there at the Washington Redskins, and what they found was this: 15 former female Redskins employees told the Washington Post they were sexually harassed during their time at the club. Only Emily Applegate spoke publicly. The other 14 women spoke on the condition of anonymity, citing a fear of litigation because some signed non-disclosure agreements with the team that threaten legal retribution if they speak negatively about the club. Now, over the past week, as the Post presented detailed allegations and findings to that football team, 3 team employees accused of improper behavior abruptly departed, including Larry Michael, the club's longtime radio voice, and Alex Santos, the team's director of personnel. In a statement, the team said it had hired a law firm to conduct a thorough independent review of this entire matter and help the team set up new employee standard in the future. The allegations, of course, run a number of years from 2006 to 2019 and span most of Snyder's tenure as owner, and they fall into two categories: unwelcome overtures or comments of a sexual nature, and then they tried to tell the sales team to wear tight clothes and flirt with the people in order to get sales for the team. And so they were really taking advantage of young women there, and here's why that matters. If you allow those people to be mistreated, how do you treat black people? If you allow those women to be mistreated, how do you treat Latinos? How do you treat people who are different than you? How do you treat people who don't have any power? How do you treat people, period? See, it's not just about changing the name. It's about changing the culture. It's not just about giving people a couple of dollars. It's about changing the structure. Like, there are some things that need to be addressed structurally. And the Washington Redskins, really a microcosm of that, really just an example of that, you know, it doesn't matter if you change some stuff on the surface. There needs to be a heart change. There needs to be a mind change. There needs to be some change in the structure and the way that you do things. That is how we change this country. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. We'll talk with attorney Riley Ross III on the ousting of Dr. Brenda Allen as the president of Lincoln University. Financial consultant Akbar Hassan has your money advice, and Greg Corbin and Nina Lirespect Ball on the Mural Arts Program's Emerge campaign. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065 or toll free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at onWURD. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number 1, sports, race, and politics have come together to create a political challenge for Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler of Georgia, who co-owns the Atlanta Dream, the city's WNBA team. Loeffler is facing a tough election this fall, but she's drawn a lot of criticism for calling on the league's commissioner to drop support of the Black Lives Matter movement. Yup, she owns the team, where all the players are black, and she talk about don't support Black Lives Matter. Yes, that is a thing. The WNBA and its unions have decided to put Black Lives Matter and Say Her Name slogans on warm-up gear and opening weekend team uniforms. The truth is we need less, not more politics in sports, Loeffler wrote in a letter to WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert last week. In a time when polarizing politics is as divisive as ever, sports has the power to be a unifying antidote. So here's what she said. Basically, she's saying that Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization, right? That Marxism and it supports socialism. That Black Lives Matter is an organization that goes beyond just the slogan Black Lives Matter. She's not against Black Lives Matter as a matter of black lives, right? But she's against Black Lives Matter as an organization. Woman, please give me a break. Just be quiet, because here's the bottom line. Don't speak again. If you're not against Black Lives Matter, then you know what, zip it. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, you talking about you trying to parse it, and no, there is no parsing it, right? Either Black Lives Matter or they don't. Either you care about black people or you don't. Now, the WNBA has said they're not going to try to make her sell her share in the team, but really, they should. It makes me think about Donald Sterling. Remember Donald Sterling? Donald Sterling owned an NBA team, the Los Angeles Clippers, and he was a racist. They had him on tape. He was a cold-blooded racist, right? They made him divest from the team. They made him sell the team. That's how these leagues operate. They operate really as almost like a consortium, right, of owners who come together under this big organization, and they decide whether you can own a team or not. So the WNBA should do the same thing with her. Get her out of here, man. What do you mean you're against Black Lives Matter as an organization, but you're not against Black Lives Matter as a slogan? Either you're for Black lives or you're not. Either you care about us or you don't. You can't own a team when all the players are black and you talk about you against Black Lives Matter. Woman, please shut up. Story number 2 is the Supreme Court on Thursday said Florida can enforce a law barring ex-felons from voting if they still owe court fines or fees that they're unable to pay associated with their convictions. The unsigned order likely means the law will be in effect for the November election, although the court did not declare the law to be unconstitutional or limit ongoing court challenges. Liberal justices Sonia Sotomayor, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and Elena Kagan dissented. The court's order prevents thousands of otherwise eligible voters from participating in Florida's primary election simply because they are poor, Sotomayor wrote in the dissent. The court's inaction continues a trend of condoning disenfranchisement, she said. Over 1 million Floridians with prior felony convictions had their voting rights restored with a constitutional amendment passed in November 2018, Amendment 4, which allowed convicted felons who complete all terms of sentence the right to vote, passed with nearly 65% of the vote, exceeding the 60% threshold required. After it went into effect, the GOP-led Florida legislature passed and Republican Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that clarified all terms of sentence to include legal financial obligations such as fines, fees, and restitution. So here's what that is, right? I need y'all to be real clear on this. That's a poll tax. That's a poll tax, right? That's you have to pay to vote. That's what that is. And that is a classic means of voter suppression. That is something that was used to stop people from voting before the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965. Black people had the right to vote for a couple of hundred years, right? But they were stopping black people from voting using various voter suppression methods and violence, right? So you might vote in Georgia, you might get lynched the next day, right? That dissuaded a lot of people from voting. You might vote, right? They might burn down your house. You might get fired from your job. You might lose your business, right? And then they started being more overt with it and doing things like poll taxes. Like, oh, well, you want to vote? All right, well, that's going to cost you $100 to vote, right? This is a poll tax. When you say to these people who have served their time, right, come out and now they want to be full citizens, they should be full citizens. When you say to them, oh, well, you can't vote unless you have the money to pay all your fines, all your fees, all your restitution, that is a poll tax. And here's what I suggest. I suggest that black folks all over the country get together, do a GoFundMe so we can help these brothers, because a lot of them are brothers. Pay that fine, pay those fees, pay that restitution so they can vote. Which brings me to story number 3. Story number 3 is my commentary for the day. And it goes this way. Black people are vulnerable to coronavirus. And I wonder if that affects how politicians respond. Trump sits in the Oval Office hawking Goya beans while a virus kills 138,000. The governor of Oklahoma has the virus himself and still won't make people wear masks. Florida's governor blames the media. Texas's governor won't shut down business. But the one who really gets me is Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia. Kemp is the guy who suppressed black votes to cheat Stacey Abrams out of winning. And now that he's in charge in Georgia, he's still doing black folks dirty, because even as the leading experts on this virus are telling us to wear masks, the governor is telling Georgians not to. And maybe I'm wrong, but from where I sit, it looks like this is about race, because the mayors of 2 of Georgia's biggest cities are black, and they've mandated that people wear masks. Meanwhile, Kemp has done everything possible to undermine them. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms said masks are mandatory in her city. Kemp said they're not. Savannah Mayor Van Johnson said masks are mandatory in his city. Kemp said they're not. And when both black mayors said they're going to keep doing what's best for their people, Kemp sued Keisha Lance Bottoms in court. But this is not about masks. And sadly for Brian Kemp, it's not about saving people's lives. No, with 3,000 deaths already in his state, he wants to fight over power. Black mayors should have the right to save the lives of the people in their cities. Black women should have the right to be in charge. Black people should have the right to choose their leaders. Keisha Lance Bottoms represents all of those things, and Kemp thinks he can put her in her place. I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. On the national scale, and in some of these states where this thing is spiking, I'm starting to see some patterns that really look like racism, right? Well, you have Brian Kemp, who is the governor who really cheated his way into that spot. He really shouldn't even be there, right? Because he was running the election at the same time that he was running for governor. In other words, he was the Secretary of State, so he was in charge of how many polling places they had. He was in charge of purging the voter rolls, like he was in charge of suppressing the vote. And that's what he did in order to get in that position, and now we see what kind of leader he is. Now, Keisha Lance Bottoms, the mayor of Atlanta, she was one of the people being talked about as a vice presidential candidate for Joe Biden. And so there's a political element to this, I believe, to try to smear Keisha Lance Bottoms. But there's also a racial element to this, right? I'm in charge. Y'all Negroes can't tell us what to do. You're not going to tell us to wear masks, and I'm going to make sure that you can't, because I'm going to use state law to trump city law so that you can't provide leadership in the cities where these cases are spiking. I'm going to make sure that nobody has to listen to you. I'm going to make sure that everybody knows that I'm large and in charge. I'm the governor. I run the state. State law trumps city law. You can't tell people to wear masks. Meanwhile, you got 3,000 people dead in Georgia and cases rising. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Because you can't be doing it to protect the people. What do you care whether they say in Atlanta you have to wear a mask? What do you care whether they say in Savannah you have to wear a mask? If you don't want to wear a mask, you don't wear one, right? But to try to keep these black leaders from actually providing black leadership, in my view, some of this is driven by race. And not only that, black people are disproportionately affected by this disease. And the reason why is because we already have comorbidities. That's other things that you would die from anyway. Diabetes, heart disease, all of these things, all of these diseases, all of these underlying conditions, and don't have insurance in the same numbers as white people. Some of us don't even have primary care physicians. And so, yeah, this is affecting us more than it's affecting white people in a disproportionate way. In other words, we 13% of the population, but we might be a third of the cases, right? That's what disproportionate means, right? It's affecting you much more than it's affecting other folks. And so, are you doing it to protect the people, or is it a fight over power? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. And the other political thing with this is it a means of currying favor with Donald Trump? Are you just doing it because, okay, well, the president don't want people to wear masks. The president want to act like this thing is not real. The president wants to pretend that it's not as bad as it is so he can try to get reelected. So let me help him with that. Is that what it's about? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. Let's go with Fran from West Philly on line 2.
Good morning, Solomon. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Solomon, you took the thought from my mind in regards to creating a GoFundMe for these men and possibly women that have to pay these back fines.
That's right. That's right.
I totally agree. In regards to the suit against the mayor of Atlanta, let's do a countersuit. Let's do a countersuit.
Love it.
For what he's trying to do. It could be like attempt. I'm not so much to say it as attempted, murder, but basically using their own statistics to say this is what's happening to our community. Mm-hmm. How can you not allow this to happen? Mm-hmm. So going forward, we have to be proactive against what these people are thinking about. Mm-hmm. And I think that if we stick to the plan, it can happen. Thank you.
I agree, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go with Miss Mary from Winfield on line 3. Go ahead, Miss Mary.
Good morning, son, and thank you for taking my call.
You're quite welcome.
Good morning, Word family. Mm-hmm. I was sitting here thinking, now, they're protesting about their First Amendment right that they don't have to wear masks. Mm-hmm. Well, isn't our First Amendment rights that we want to wear masks?
Yep.
Am I right or wrong?
No. I mean, First Amendment, it gives you the right to free speech, and speech happens in all kinds of ways. Speech is verbal and nonverbal. So yes.
Okay, and that's. I just wanted to make sure I was right before I start spreading the good news. Mm-hmm. But on the other part of it, we know what it is. It's to try to suppress the vote. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like 45 said what? I'm not closing the country down again. You didn't, Jackrabbit. The governors did.
Yep.
Okay? Because them unrighteous, stealing, thieving, rapist ones that started this country because they were stealing from each other. They had to make sure somebody was over somebody else. It's like we got to oversee everybody. Mm-hmm. So the real bottom line is that governor down there in Georgia, like that young lady just said this a few minutes ago, countersuit. And that Solomon, that GoFundMe page. Yeah. Come on, people, all over the country. Yep. Come on, remember George Floyd. Mm-hmm. Come on, people, we can do this. You GoFundMe for anything else.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
And that works for everybody.
Love it.
Have a blessed day and a blessed and safe weekend.
All right, you too. And I want to thank you so much for your call. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue to take your calls. Cliff from Connecticut, you're up next. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Now, a Word Radio weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Steven Sosna.
For this Friday, we're looking at some hazy sunshine, also a few passing sprinkles and showers during the morning hours, and then in the afternoon, an isolated shower or thunderstorm. High temperature up to 90 degrees. Over the weekend, it's all about the heat. 95 blazing sunshine on Saturday, up to 97 on Sunday. The feels like temperature Sunday afternoon, 100 to 105, and that continues even into early next week. Remember, you can get the 10-day forecast when you download the free NBC 10 app.
Check out the Source lineup on Word Radio. Mondays, get ready for the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. On Tuesdays, it's Andrea Lawful Sanders. Then on Wednesdays, it's the Black Women's Leadership Council. On Thursdays, it's a second helping of Andrea Lawful Sanders. And on Fridays, it's Tiffany Bacon. Don't miss the Source. Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. and Fridays, 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. Exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Tune in Saturdays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. to hear Empire Capital and Consulting founder Mark Palmer's show titled Black Money, Black Power. This show centers around black money and how black power is derived from money. Tune in every Saturday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Black Money, Black Power, hosted by Mark Palmer.
WordRadio.com.
These are the sounds of a dinner. A dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Watch out for a few busy spots. This traffic report sponsored by LifeLock. When we do have some delays out there on 95 southbound, looking a little slow between Cottman Avenue and Bridge Street. You're down to 3 lanes with construction. There is a lane taken out through there, and also construction on northbound 95 as you come up from Delaware, from Neiman's Road up to Market Street. Looks like that construction is now just clearing, so we're seeing some improvement there. Over to New Jersey, got a truck fire southbound on the Turnpike south of Burlington Mount Holly exit 5. It is moved off to the right shoulder. Northbound 55 slowing as you approach 42.
If you're only monitoring your credit to help protect your identity, you could miss certain threats, like your info for sale on the dark web. Good thing there's LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Get LifeLock now and save more during their special summer sale. Go to lifelock.com. Use promo code RISK. Sale ends July 20th.
For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jenny Robinson with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're waking up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We're talking about a number of things this morning. The plot thickens down in Washington with their football team, formerly known as the Redskins. 15 former female Redskins employees told the Washington Post that they were sexually harassed during their time at the club, and that they believe that the ownership knew about it and did nothing. Sports, race, and politics, of course, continues to collide with the story of Kelly Loeffler. She co-owns the Atlanta Dream, the WNBA team. She's in a tough re-election campaign. She's talking about they should not support the Black Lives Matter organization, right? She says that Black Lives Matter, the organization, is different from Black Lives Matter, the slogan, and we shouldn't have Black Lives Matter on our jerseys in the WNBA. I think they need to make her divest from the team. I think they need to make her sell her share of ownership, like they did Donald Sterling in the NBA. The NBA acted decisively when we learned that Donald Sterling was a racist. They made him sell his share of the team. You can't have black players making you money and you talking about Black Lives Don't Matter, don't support the organization, that, trying to parse it, sell your share of the team, right? You think Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization and all of that nonsense. Sell your share of the team, and then Black Lives won't have to matter to you. Story number 2, the Supreme Court on Thursday said Florida can enforce a law barring ex-felons from voting if they still owe court fines or fees that they're unable to pay associated with their convictions. Guess what? That's a poll tax. That's voter suppression. That is going back to the 1950s. That's what that is. I think we need to start a GoFundMe campaign to pay off these guys' fines, fees, and court costs. That's what I think we need to do to make sure that they can vote. Story number 3, my commentary for the day, is race driving some of the response to how politicians are treating coronavirus. We know that black people are being affected disproportionately by that. That doesn't mean there's more black people. It just means there's a bigger share of black people than there are of other races. And it's because we already have a bunch of underlying health conditions. It's because we don't necessarily have health insurance. It's because we don't have primary care physicians, many of us. And so we are more affected by this. And I just wonder as I'm watching 138,000 Americans dead and Trump sitting in the Oval Office hawking Goya beans. The governor of Oklahoma has the virus himself and still won't make people wear masks. Florida's governor blames the media. Texas's governor won't shut down businesses. But the one guy who really gets me is Brian Kemp in Georgia. He cheated his way into the office in the first place, and now he's trying to undermine black mayors of big cities in Georgia. Keisha Lance Bottoms said, look, in Atlanta, we have to wear masks. We're going to make it mandatory. Y'all got to wear masks. You come outside, you got to wear a mask, right? The mayor of Savannah, Georgia, who's a brother, y'all got to wear masks, right? Brian Kemp comes out and says, well, we're not going to make people wear masks in Georgia, and I'm going to overrule your local ordinances in order to show that I'm the boss. Like, I just think that he's undermining that black leadership in Georgia. And I wonder if that, in addition to his political reasons of wanting to back Donald Trump, are the reasons that he's doing that. I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Cliff from Connecticut is on line 1. Good morning.
Hey, Brother Solomon, thanks for taking my call. Listen, I'll be brief. I really appreciate your consciousness and your input and and basically your output on these subject matters. I really appreciate that. And everybody that really in the black community, and particularly the WURD, for allowing that to happen. And with that being said, you mentioned the First Amendment. I'm really frustrated and furious what happened with Nick Cannon and his interview with Professor Griff. I don't think that was right for Viacom to get rid of him. I don't think he said anything wrong. So, thanks for taking my call. I just want to share that with you.
All right. Thanks, Cliff. We appreciate that. And, of course, he's talking about Nick Cannon. He used to host America's Got Talent. He had been employed with Viacom for a long time, and he did an interview with Professor Griff. Professor Griff was with Public Enemy, and Professor Griff had some things to say. They, of course, very much, followers of Louis Farrakhan and his teachings, and he had some things to say, and Nick Cannon was doing the interview, and Viacom thought it was anti-Semitic, and they got rid of Nick Cannon. So that's what happened with him, and we'll see what happens going forward, because there are some properties over there at Viacom that Nick Cannon wants to take with him because he created them, and so we'll see. One of those products, I think, is Wildin' Out. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Kelly Loeffler, running for office, and she's, of course, running for office in Georgia, and says that she doesn't want the WNBA to support Black Lives Matter. Should they make her sell her share of the team? Oh, you don't think Black Lives Matter? You got black players? We all got black players? All right, well, tell you what. sell your share of the team, just like what happened with Donald Sterling with the Los Angeles Clippers. Once they found out he was a racist, they made him sell his share of the team. And that's what needs to happen with Kelly Loeffler as well. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number. You can also weigh in on Facebook at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. FORWURD. That is where you can weigh in and let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show. Deborah Dorn Carter says on Facebook, Solomon, it has to hit home before these politicians who favor 45 take this COVID-19 seriously. They're too busy trying to kiss his behind. How many more people have to die before they do something different? So I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Wanda Unique Davis says this on Facebook. They're always trying to find ways to discriminate and suppress the vote. They stay up all night, losing sleep, trying to keep their foot on our necks. So that's what she had to say about this. And Delilah Levister on the Washington Redskins says this: they should change our name to the Washington Natives and keep the logo the same. Talking about the Washington football team, formerly known as the Redskins. So Rovetta Everett Gilmore says this: we know it's not about the people in these cities, so black folk need to do what they have to do to stay safe and let this fool governor know they are smart enough to know his ulterior motives. And, you know, I think it's different. When you talk about it has to hit home, well, the Oklahoma governor has it himself. He's tested positive and still won't make the people wear masks. You know, I think that the anti-science vein that's kind of running through the GOP, where they just don't want to believe science about anything, is kind of disturbing. It is. And it's disturbing because what you're doing is you're trying to make people make decisions based not on facts, but based on politics. And when people's lives are on the line, politics should be out the window. Your support of Donald Trump or lack thereof should be out of the window, right? Your biases when it comes to the lives of the people that you're supposed to be leading, supposed to be protecting, all of that mess should be out of the window. But you're putting politics before people, right? You're putting ideology before the population that you're supposed to be taking care of. You're in office to take care of the people, but what I think is this: I think that they believe they're in office just to take care of some of the people. They believe they're in office just to keep these structures in place. They believe that they're in office just to make sure that racism rules the day. And it's a different day, right? So I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation. Brother Gary from Chester is on line one. Go ahead, Brother Gary.
Solomon Jones, thanks for taking my call. Solomon Jones, that GoFundMe thing for Florida, boy, that's real good.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Now, Solomon Jones, if you remember the Beverly Hillbillies, Granny didn't believe in science. Remember, she believed in all her little potions and this and that. Remember? Well, I actually think the Republican Party is the Beverly Hillbillies. You understand what I'm saying? It used to be the snobby group. If you remember, back in the days, they were the snobby group, the millionaires. But now it's the party of the hillbillies, the uneducated, and the low-lights. You know, I mean, I'm calling it just what it is. And straight racism. Straight racism. I dare somebody call a Black Lives Matter or Marxist. I mean, I just can't believe the things they use. First of all, Marxist is a Russian thing, and that's what they want to be friends with.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
That crazy talk all the time. Man, they need to... Simon Joe, when you bring that book out? When that book coming out, Simon? We need something to read.
Next year.
Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks,
Simon.
Gary. We appreciate your call this morning on WURD. Yeah, it's a lot, man. I think that the thing that I think gives me hope is that you have people in the GOP who are against this nonsense, who are like, wait a minute, you know, we need to save people's lives. Wait a minute, we need to take care of the people who have taken care of us. Wait a minute, we need to do something different. What do you mean you're going to tell the people not to wear masks? What do you mean you're going to tell the people this thing is not real? What do you mean you're going to hide the data? Like, there's a whole lot going on, man, with this thing. One of the things that might have kind of flown under the radar with some of our folks is that the Trump administration said, don't give the information, told the hospitals, don't give the information to the CDC, give it to us, right? Don't give the information about how many people you have in hospital beds, how many people are testing positive. Don't give it to the CDC, give it to us, right? Give it to HHS, Health and Human Services, right? And that's so they can hide the data. That's so the people don't really know. You know, you play games with the numbers, right? Because they know that this thing is getting worse, and their whole priority is making sure that they get Donald Trump back in office. That's their priority. And so if we got to lie to do it, if we got to hide data to do it, if we got to pretend this thing is not real to do it, if we got to tell y'all not to wear masks to do it, whatever we have to do and however many lives it costs, we are going to do that so that we can get Donald Trump back in office. That is our priority. We need more federal judges on the bench who agree with us. We need more Supreme Court justices who agree with us. Like, that's their priority. Because Donald Trump is just a tool for them. Like, okay, you're going to put the judges on the bench that we need on the bench. They stay for life. And then we're going to run it. We're going to get everything that we need, everything that we want. We're going to get these structures in place. We'll build new structures to make sure that we stay in charge, even though we are not the majority. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. And when I say, you know, they're not the majority, what I mean is the Republicans on the national scale, they're not the majority. Donald Trump lost the popular vote by 3 million votes. You're not the majority nationally. So there's some things that you got to do to make sure that you win. A, you got to keep the Electoral College in place to make sure it's a state-by-state election, right? You got to make sure it's that. You can't have a popular vote election, because if you do that, you're going to lose every time, right? You're not in the majority. And so you got to make sure you get these federal judges on the bench for life, because you're not the majority. So they can rule in the way that you want them to rule. You know, there's a whole lot going on with this, man. Elections matter. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue to take your calls. Gio from Philly, Europe next. If you want to get in, it is 215-634-8065. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Starting to pick up some volume. This traffic report sponsored by Allstate. On 95, you're starting to slow down just a bit. Southbound 95 from Cottman Avenue to Bridge Street. Now that is through a construction zone. You're down to 3 lanes there instead of the usual 4. Also a little slow between Allegheny and Girard. On the Schuylkill Expressway, everything looking good in and out of Center City. Vine Expressway, minor delay westbound into the Schuylkill merge. On the New Jersey Turnpike, got a couple of problems. Southbound, there's a truck fire on the right shoulder south of Burlington Mount Holly. Also an accident blocks the left lane on the Turnpike extension westbound as you approach the connector bridge. If you're driving less, you could be saving more on car insurance with Paper Mile Insurance from Allstate. Pay for the miles you drive and save on the miles you don't. Call a local Allstate agent and get a quote now. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jenny Robinson with your Philadelphia area traffic.
now. A Word Radio weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Steven Sosna.
For this Friday, we're looking at some hazy sunshine, also a few passing sprinkles and showers during the morning hours, and then in the afternoon, an isolated shower or thunderstorm. High temperature up to 90 degrees. Over the weekend, it's all about the heat. 95, blazing sunshine on Saturday, up to 97 on Sunday. The feels like temperature Sunday afternoon, 100 to 105, and that continues even into early next week. Remember, you can get the 10-day forecast when you download the free NBC 10 app.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
Pico has many ways to help you lower your energy usage and save money at home. Here's one. Have an old working fridge or freezer in your garage or basement? Pico will pick it up, dispose of it responsibly, and give you a $75 rebate. That's right, $75. Plus, you could save as much as $150 a year on your energy bill by getting rid of it. Just schedule your pickup at pico.com/recycling or call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE today. Be sure your fridge or freezer is plugged in and working at time of pickup.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875
Or visit wordradio.com.
Show some love for your favorite neighborhood
With Word Radio.
It's the Summer of Freedom Virtual Neighborhood Love Tour. Mondays and Thursdays now through August 20th from 1 p.m. till 2:30 p.m. Shining a light on Philadelphia's neighborhoods with a focus on neighborhood history, Philadelphia's freedom fighters, and community resources that are helping to shape the city's future.
Mondays with the Rappin' Professor Dr. Aaron Smith, and Thursdays with Andrea Lawful Sanders.
It's the Summer of Freedom Virtual Neighborhood Love Tour. Mondays and Thursdays, 1 p.m. till 2:30 p.m. Exclusively on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on wordradio.com, the Word Radio app, and on Word TV via YouTube and Facebook.
The Summer of Freedom Virtual Neighborhood Love Tour is sponsored by Wells Fargo and Pico.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We are talking about a number of things on this morning show, and I want you to call in and join the conversation at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. A whole lot going on. Of course, the Washington football team, formerly known as the Redskins, they're going to be changing that name because the name is racist. Well, not only are they in trouble about the name, but apparently the female employees there over a number of years throughout Dan Snyder's ownership of the team have been enduring sexual harassment. The Washington Post did a big expose where they spoke to 15 women who said that they were victims of sexual harassment and abuse at the Washington Redskins, and one of them gave their name, Emily Applegate. The others did not want to do so because they had signed non-disclosure agreements that they would not speak negatively about the team or that they would be sued if they did. And so that's going on there. And, of course, sports, race, and politics continue to come together with the WNBA team, the Atlanta Dream. It is co-owned by Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler, who's facing a tough election this fall. She's drawn a lot of criticism for calling on the league's commissioner to drop support of the Black Lives Matter movement. And all the black players like, what? You know what I mean? The whole league is black. Like, what are you talking about? Just, you know, if you don't like Black Lives Matter and the team and the league is supporting Black Lives Matter, then sell your share of the team. You know what I mean? Like, how you going to own a team where all the players are black and you talking about don't support Black Lives Matter? That's insane. But that's where we are as a country, and she's really seriously saying that and saying, oh, yeah, and by the way, I'm not going to sell my share of the team. I think the league needs to force her to do that like they did Donald Sterling in the NBA when they found out he was a racist. Story number 2, the Supreme Court on Thursday said Florida can enforce a law barring ex-felons from voting if they still owe court fines or fees that they're unable to pay associated with their convictions. I think we need to start a GoFundMe campaign to help those brothers and sisters to vote, because you know what that is? That's a poll tax. That's voter suppression, and it's wrong. Story number 3, black people vulnerable to coronavirus, and I wonder if that affects how politicians respond. Trump sits in the Oval Office hawking Goya beans while the virus kills 138,000. The governor of Oklahoma has the virus himself, still won't make people wear masks. Florida's governor blames the media. Texas's governor won't shut down businesses. And then there's Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia. He's a special case. Because he is undermining the black leadership of Keisha Lance Bottoms and another brother, Van Johnson. They are the mayors of Atlanta and Savannah, respectively, right? So these two black mayors put ordinances in place to say, look, you got to wear masks in our city. The cases are going up. People are dying. You got to wear masks. Georgia's governor says you don't have to wear masks. I'm going to overrule you from the state level. Keisha Lance Bottoms says we're still going to do it. He takes it to court. What is this really about, masks, or is it about undermining black leadership? Is this really about masks, or is it about politics and ideology? Is this really about masks, or is it about you don't want this black woman, you don't want this black man, you don't want these black people to have self-determination, and you're here to show them that they never will? Is that what it's about? I want to know. I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. Let's go to Gio. He's on the line. Good morning.
Hey, what's going on, Solomon?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Everything's good, man. Listen, I wanted to comment on 2 things off your last segment, and one off of what you just said. Is it really about math? First, I wanted to go in on the Nick Cannon situation. Being as though that Griff is from our generation, we all know what he's about. So I feel like Nick knew what he was getting into, but he brought him up there. When you divulge in a conversation with someone that has different beliefs than you do, the pot starts to get mixed up.
Yeah.
And the suit starts to get diluted. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Nick knew what he was getting into when he
good point. Good point.
Number 2, for Trump saying to give the information to them instead of the CDC. I feel like if people haven't woken up right now, then that statement right there should tell them to wake up. Because ultimately, all this thing boils down to is finance. And which leads into the last thing that I wanted to touch on when you said about the mask. It really is about the mask, because you have to go from the beginning of this quote-unquote pandemic until now. In the beginning, they told everybody, if you're going to go outside, must wear the N95 mask. Then they went to saying you can wear a homemade mask or a bandana. You go into any of these supply stores, there's no mask anywhere, no N95s. If you find them, you're going to get charged up the wazoo for them. So ultimately, in the beginning, if they tell you to wear N95s, then they tell you, oh, no, you can just wear
what should it tell you?
It should tell you that it's a setup.
A setup to do what?
It's like I said, ultimately it all comes down to money. So if you go outside and you're wearing a quote-unquote a homemade mask and you get sick, then you go to the hospital. The hospital makes money off it.
Suppose you don't have insurance.
They pay for it.
So let me ask you this, brother.
You don't get billed for going there for a COVID visit.
Let me ask you this. So do you believe that this is 138,000 people are dead, over 3 million people infected. I mean, ultimately, what do you believe this is about?
Ultimately, I believe it's about money and population control. I do believe that I do believe there is a virus. Don't get me wrong. My mother suffered through it. My stepfather suffered through it. I know countless people that suffered through it.
Right.
My mom is 78 years old and she made it through.
Okay. Praise God for that.
And the way she made it through was through natural vitamins and herbs and prayer.
Okay.
The hospital didn't do nothing. The CDC called them every other day. The CDC called them every other day, asking them how they were doing.
Yeah.
So do I believe in it? Yeah, I do believe in it. But the whole thing is, if you go outside and you're not wearing a proper PPE, then you're exposing yourself.
But you don't have to have an N95 mask. And here's where I differ with you. Because I had an N95 mask in the beginning. We had some left over. God did some construction at our house, and we had some that he had left behind, I guess probably over a year ago. So we just happened to have them in the house, right? But I think that as they've learned more about this version of the coronavirus, because it's a new version, we know the virus has changed. That's why you got a new flu shot every year. Like, viruses change, they mutate. As they've learned more about the virus, I think the information has changed. I think that's why the information has changed. Like, okay, well, because initially they didn't say, I don't ever remember them saying that you have to have an N95 mask, because they knew everybody ain't have them anyway, right? That's for medical personnel who are treating very sick people and in the same room with them. That's what N95 masks are for, right? But once they said that, you know what, we think that masks are effective against this thing, they said you can make your own mask, you can buy a mask, but you need to put something on your face when you're outside. They never said that everybody needed to wear an N95 mask. I never remember hearing this, and I was covering it from the beginning.
All right, in the very beginning, they said N95 was the best mask.
Yeah, it is, but that's for medical people, though.
Okay, so if you're saying that's for medical people, so if we're out in the public and we're in close contact with people that are just wearing regular face masks, they're telling you that a regular face mask will just stop you from the particles from coming in the air. That's not going to stop you from getting it. So why you even going to go out there wearing something that's not going to stop you from getting it?
Yeah, but
I don't understand the reasoning.
Well, I'm going to tell you the reasoning is because masks do stop the particles, stop you from infecting other people. So you wearing a mask, you might be infected. The particles in your mouth stay in your mouth, right? And the particles in their mouth stay in their mouth. So I wear a mask to protect you, and you wear a mask to protect me. That's what that's about.
No doubt. I understand that.
Okay.
I just feel like the people are just going out right now because they can't find regular masks, so they're telling everybody that these homemade masks are going to be fine. When in all actuality, they're also telling you that they do not stop you from contracting the virus.
All right, brother. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD. I'm just here, man, trying to spread the knowledge that I've gotten from talking to doctors about this thing on the air every week since it started, and trying to share the knowledge. I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in. Let's go to Jerry from West Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I didn't I didn't know I was going to get on this fast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was listening to the gentleman, and also I had a gentleman on Facebook that was saying that, with that party, that big old party they had in Southwest Philly.
Yeah.
And people didn't have no masks on.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically was saying it's a hose. Don't pay them, don't pay it no mind. And it's sad because those are the ones that no matter what, reach till the cows come home, is that they're not going to believe it. Until it happens in their immediate family. It's like Doubting Thomas in the Bible. He did not believe that Jesus was alive. Everybody told him, but until he saw it for himself, then he believed. And that's the way it's going to be. And some, just like, unfortunately, and I'm praying for people, you're going to save some, you're going to lose some. Unfortunately, because you got some that'll believe and have not seen. You have seen, I'm sorry, the other way around. Some people have seen and they believe. Those people that have not seen, they will not believe.
Well, we're going to try to educate people anyway, and I want to thank you for your call, and we're not going to be, negative about it. I just think that we have to do everything that we can to educate our folk. I have to do everything that I can to educate our folk. I talked to Dr. Eli Stanford from the beginning of this thing. So did our colleague here, Andrea Lawful Sanders. Talk to Dr. Eli Stanford. We bring on Dr. Elena McDonald and Dr. Delana Wardlaw every week. We are trying to give you as much education about this thing as we possibly can. And, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So I am going to continue to do everything that I can to educate my community, to try to save our lives, because it is absolutely about that. And so that is my job. That's what I'm going to do. That's what we're going to continue to push, is truth, and make sure that we do everything that we can to save our people's lives, because that's why we are here. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Holistic health information every weekend with Dr. Paul. Saturdays during the Holistic Hour at 9 a.m. and Sundays during the Green Hour at 3 p.m. right here on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM. Streaming live at wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
In Pennsylvania, everyone counts, and everyone needs to participate in the census. Our population count determines our voice in government and how much federal funding our communities receive for health care, food assistance, education, transportation, housing, and more. So every infant and child, every foreign and U.S. citizen, everyone matters. For a stronger future, we all need to count. To learn more, go to pa.gov/census.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the Mattress Man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
Are you looking for financing for your business? Well, the doors are open at New City Commercial Capital. For businesses in a position to grow, we are offering 100% financing for commercial real estate purchases. That's no down payment, no closing costs, absolutely no money out of pocket. Plus, the CARES Act will pay your mortgage payment for the first 6 months after closing. Do not procrastinate. This program ends August 1st. Give us a call today at 484-454-3592. New City Commercial Capital. Financing solutions for today's commercial customer.
This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We are, of course, taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. We're talking about a number of things this morning. The Washington team, formerly known as the Redskins, now has a sexual harassment problem. Apparently 15 women say that they were sexually harassed there over a period of years. They believe the ownership knew about it, did nothing, and so there's a big expose in the Washington Post about that. Of course, the Supreme Court has sided with the state of Florida. The people voted to give felons their voting rights back. Once you get out of prison, you know, you've done your time, you have your voting rights back, right? And that's different state to state. In Pennsylvania, when you get out of prison, you can vote, period, right? If you're in prison awaiting trial, you can vote, right? And so in Pennsylvania, it's a little bit different, right? You can vote if you have done your time and have come out of prison, you can vote in Pennsylvania. In Florida, that was different until the people voted and said, you know what, no, it's not right. You should be able to vote. The GOP-led legislature and the GOP governor got together and said, well, you know, you still got to pay whatever fines that you have before you can vote. That's a poll tax, man. That's voter suppression. We need to do a GoFundMe to pay off all of their fines for those people in Florida who have those fines, who have those fees. We need to do a GoFundMe to help them pay that stuff off so they can vote. And then story number 3, I'm wondering about how people are responding, how politicians in particular are responding with this coronavirus crisis, right? Black people disproportionately affected. And so you have some black people trying to provide some leadership, specifically in Georgia. The mayor of Atlanta is Keisha Lance Bottoms. Keisha Lance Bottoms put a rule in place that if you're in Atlanta, you got to wear a mask, right? You come outside in Atlanta, you got to wear a mask because these cases are going up. People are dying. You got to wear a mask. Van Johnson, who is the black mayor of Savannah, Georgia, you got to wear a mask, right? So Brian Kemp, who cheated his way in there in the first place, says as governor, well, I'm going to put a state rule in place that overrides your rule. And so, no, people don't have to wear masks, right? Meanwhile, it's 3,000 people dead in Georgia from the virus. You know what I mean? Cases going up. So are you doing this? Like, why are you, if you know that the cases are going up, if you know that the people are dying, if you know that masks help to stop the spread of this thing, why would you tell the people don't wear masks? So it's not about the people, it's about power. It's about who has the power and who doesn't. It's about telling this black woman, you're not going to tell us what to do. This is about telling this black man, you're not going to tell us what to do. It's about politics and it's about power. And yes, it's about race. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things that we are talking about on this morning show. Of course, Nick Cannon also fired from Viacom. He had a podcast where he talked with Professor Griff from Public Enemy. Professor Griff has some beliefs about Jews, and he said some things. Nick said some things. Viacom thought it was hate speech. They fired him, but here's the thing. Nick Cannon has been working for Viacom for years, and he created the comedy sketch show Wildin' Out, which they still have. Now, they fire him. They keep the show. He trying to get his show back. Now, he's still on Fox doing The Masked Singer. He apologized and said, you know, I didn't mean it that way. I'm not anti-Semitic, et cetera, et cetera. And so Viacom booted him but kept his show. Fox, in the meantime, kept him as the host of The Masked Singer. He said he apologized. They kept him. That was good enough for them. The question is, does he get his show back? Does he get the rights to what he created? So if you want to talk about that, you can certainly give us a call about that as well. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Diane from South Philly is online. Good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. I'm out here walking on 15th Street doing my speed walking.
Okay.
Guess what? They're
What?
picking up the trash.
There you go.
Yes.
There you
yes,
go.
They're picking it up.
Love it.
Yes. A lot of, like the guy told me, he said, it's not like we don't want to do our job, but a lot of people calling out, and some people don't come back. But then that's the case. Mayor, hire some of these men.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, they're not working.
Yup.
They were trying to get a program before. Number one. Number two, listen, they fired Nick Cannon, but listen, did they fire Trump family? Because I was watching an interview with Mary Trump, his niece.
Yeah.
And she stated the N-word was used like it was just a regular word in their house and talking about Jews. Come on now. Listen. And number three, in closing, I know Queen Oasis not there today. She's just chilling. But let me tell you, Solomon made a statement the other day about Stevie Wonder. And you said Michael Jackson was on Ed Sullivan's show, but what you forgot to mention that Stevie Wonder was in black and white. You probably was a little baby then, okay?
Yeah, Stevie Wonder was in black and white on Ed Sullivan. and you're right, the Jackson 5 was in color on Ed Sullivan. You're right. You're right.
That makes a difference. Listen, South Philly's finest checking out. Solomon, have a blessed weekend. Sugar Lady said, hey, and keep it real, but you always keep it black.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you. Love you back. Thank you, Diane. We appreciate that. And tell Sugar Lady I said, hey, let's go to Tony from North Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Tony.
Good morning, Sam. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have, brother.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Yeah, but look here. Here's how I'm seeing it. Also, is it about people contracting it, but it's about people that's producing it. When the virus goes in you, it starts to produce itself at thousands in minutes. When you don't wear a mask, you start emitting thousands and thousands of them in the air, and you become a walking virus yourself. And here's a good scenario. You see, when the city all over was shut down, and the cars wasn't driving, and the cars wasn't emitting that carbon dioxide, and the air got clear, and the smog went away. Well, it's the same way the virus works. When you keep it inside you, you stop polluting the air with viruses. Wear your mask.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Thank you, Tony. That's a very simple and correct description, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Jacob from Olney on line 4. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, peace be unto you, Brother Solomon.
Peace be unto you, too.
You know, I work at a school right now. These schools opening with no real plan. Solomon, if I were a white supremacist, right, and I was in a major city where the numbers are going up, right, knowing that 90% of these public schools are black and Latino, right, in the big cities, right, and the numbers are going up, what kind of fool do they think we are that we're going to send our children back with no plan, right? Just send them back. We want to get things open up. You know, we already suffer. You just mentioned more than anybody else. We're affected more by this COVID-19, right? Man, I don't know, again, what do they say? Just because they order people to do something that, if somebody told me that the Pied Piper's not going to pipe me over the mountain, I'm not going to go over the mountain with the Pied Piper. If you want to go, you go. But imagine students getting on subways and buses, you know, getting to school, right? Look at all of the variables. The bus drivers, even the children. I mean, how can you, I don't know, how can you not see that that's something bad waiting to happen here? And then what happens when they ask the president, well, what if an outbreak takes? He had no answer. Because, as his niece said, this man doesn't care about stuff like that. All he worries about, again, is trying to get in that office again. And just like Biden said, this really is a battle for the soul of what we want in this country, this American country. So I just pray that we keep our eyes open and use our mother wit, common sense. Before I got religion, man, my mother gave me mother wit, common sense. I hope we don't throw that away. Thank you, Solomon.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Rita from South Philly's on the line. Good morning, Rita.
Good morning, Solomon.
How you doing?
I was with a friend of mine yesterday, and these scientists are telling you about this COVID virus. Don't none of them know what they talk about. Here's why.
God, please, man. Please, Rita. Please. People dying. Like, I ain't got time for this. Come on, man.
Okay. I said that as a pretext. Now, this.
You said don't none of the scientists know what they're talking about. That's what you said.
Yeah. Now listen. We were sitting, and the person that this happened to was sitting directly underneath the air conditioning duct to get the air. As she's sitting there, this rash starts to develop right in front of us while she's sitting there. She starts to cry. No, don't cry, don't cry. The woman's arm was fine, and she sat underneath that air conditioning duct. Now, we have pictures, we have the time of where we were at. Then I got to call this into the doctors and ask them, what is this that you're sitting somewhere and underneath the air conditioning duct, and she still has it. Has these 3-4 little dots on her arm, where her wrist, where her hand is. Now, something is going on here, Solomon.
Something going on. All right. I want to thank you for your call this morning, Rita, on WRD. I can't, not today. It's Friday. I've been through a whole week. By the time I get to Friday, all right, I'm a little bit tired, and people dying, man. You could have all kinds of theories about everything else, right? But people are dying. So we got to be serious about this, man. We do. People are losing their lives in our community. People who look like us, people that we know, people who are our relatives. Like, we really got to be serious about this. This is not a game. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in. Reggie from North Philly's on line 1. Go ahead, Reggie.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning, Solomon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. First of all, I want to say whoever's playing your music in between your intermissions are killing it.
Okay. All right. DJ Jordan on the 1s and 2s. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Secondly, Nick Cannon is a very talented guy.
Yes.
He's definitely going to land on his feet somewhere. If Fox kept him, Viacom, they just screwed up. In reference to the masses being worn, I can't believe that lady just got on and said, we don't need masses. Scientists don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's definitely racist. It's definitely trying to undercut the mayors in Georgia. And masks need to be worn, Solomon. So I appreciate your comments. I appreciate everything that you're telling us. Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And thank you for your call this morning on WURD. Jim from West Philly is on line 2. Go ahead, Jim.
Wouldn't it be great if all of the people that have been in jail and convicted and had their voting rights taken away, which is, I can't even comprehend that, because if you're born in a country, that should be your birthright to vote. I mean, whatever circumstances happen with your long life, does that still have anything to do with your choice of how your government is ran? No.
No, it doesn't.
No. This is made up stuff that people have. But if it wasn't made up, why is every state different? What's made up means this is what somebody sat down, put on a piece of paper, and called it legislation and created the law. Laws can be abolished. I mean, there should be a push for a universal vote with no restrictions. There is no reason. Do they have a problem issuing a Social Security number and knowing where you're at and who you are? Can't you correlate that with your voting rights or your voting identification? Duh.
That'd be interesting.
What? They stamp a Social Security number on you by the time you leave the hospital now.
Right.
Okay? And any transaction, financial, run of the day or whatever, can you give us the last 4 of your social? Okay? So if it's not relevant for all this other forms of identification, why not voting? So I think that's the push it needs to be. I thought you served your time. If you came home, then why'd they let you come home? If you can't be rehabilitated, isn't being part of society and voting rehabilitation? So, just some thoughts, because the stuff that's going on, people go along with it and think that they can't change it. And the most powerful weapon they have is their hand with their finger that hits the button and vote in your interest. Why wouldn't you vote for your interest?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you vote for something that does you better? I mean, why would you turn WURD off if it isn't something that's doing you better? A whole lot of people are listening. So, I mean, if you're going to take that much interest to listen to the radio, listen to what people come on are saying that would help you. All right?
All right, man, I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. A couple minutes, we're going to be talking with Akbar Hassan, of course, about your money, because it is critically important, especially now. Jamal from West Philly is on line 3. Go ahead, Jamal.
Hey, Brother Solomon, how are you, brother?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
All right, I'm good. I wanted to just speak briefly on the Nick Cannon thing. And I think it's not just about Nick Cannon. I think it's about his association with Professor Griff, Honorable Louis Farrakhan, because they're trying to silence him, and I think anyone connected with him is just like, they try to get rid of.
Okay.
Now, I also want to speak on the mask or the coronavirus or whatever. Personally, I think this whole thing is a hyperbole. And the reason why I say so is I'm an essential worker. I work inside of the supermarket.
Yes.
And we've been working, everybody who works in the supermarket, that's the only thing, one of the things that haven't shut down is the supermarket.
Right.
People who work in the supermarket will be the first ones to catch the coronavirus because of all these shipments, and it's going from each state to this state, moving here, but we're not the ones being affected. So with that being said, this is why I think that the coronavirus is simply a hyperbole. Do it exist? Yes, I note that it exists, but to say that it's hitting black people more really makes me raise an eyebrow. It's like, oh, it's hitting us more, so I guess we're going to be the first ones to get vaccinated.
Well, I don't want to get into the vaccine and the vaccine theories and all of that, but, brother, I know the owner of ShopRite. So there have been workers who work in supermarkets who have gotten the virus. I don't know which one. I don't know which market you work in, but there have been workers in several markets who have gotten the virus.
Okay.
So I don't know which one you work at, and I don't know if whether your coworkers have had it or not. But there have been workers in supermarkets who work in the same job that you do who have gotten this virus.
I agree 100%. I know it exists. I just think personally it's a hyperbole.
I got you. All right.
Or some other agenda.
Does that mean that you don't wear a mask? Does it mean you don't wash your hands? Does it mean you don't sanitize? I mean, you do that, right? Because you're working in the market where we're getting our food. You do that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I told my mother,
all right.
I told my mother, better to have it than not need it than to need it and not have it.
There you go, and we appreciate that. That's what we want you to do. So thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk with Akbar Hassan about your money. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour work day, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity. Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
No fear, just facts. WURD.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. Start saving more for retirement now, so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Get free tips to help boost your retirement savings now at aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
A message brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Starting to pick up some volume. This traffic report is sponsored by Allstate. On 95 is starting to slow down just a bit. Southbound 95 from Cottman Avenue to Bridge Street. Now that is through a construction zone. You're down to 3 lanes there instead of the usual 4. Also a little slow between Allegheny and Girard. On the Schuylkill Expressway, everything looking good in and out of Center City. Vine Expressway, minor delay westbound into the Schuylkill merge. On the New Jersey Turnpike, got a couple of problems. Southbound, there's a truck fire on the right shoulder south of Burlington Mount Holly. Also, an accident blocks the left lane on the Turnpike extension westbound as you approach the connector bridge. If you're driving less, you could be saving more on car insurance with Pay Per Mile insurance from Allstate. Pay for the miles you drive and save on the miles you don't. Call a local Allstate agent and get a quote now. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Johnny Robinson with your Philadelphia area traffic.
A Word Radio weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Steven Sosna.
For this Friday, we're looking at some hazy sunshine, also a few passing sprinkles and showers during the morning hours, and then in the afternoon, an isolated shower or thunderstorm. High temperature up to 90 degrees. Over the weekend, it's all about the heat. 95 blazing sunshine on Saturday, up to 97 on Sunday. The feels like temperature Sunday afternoon, 100 to 105, and that continues even into early next week. Remember, you can get the 10-day forecast when you download the free NBC 10 app.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Don't do it. There's other ways to celebrate your anniversary other than going in debt. The fact that it's credit card debt tells me it's not any debt that was, needed. Past performance is not indicative of future results. So with that qualifier, don't walk, run.
And now, Akbar Hassan, only on Wake Up with Word.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now is Akbar Hassan. Akbar Hassan, of course, is a veteran financial consultant. He works with individuals and small businesses, and he breaks down money and makes it very simple and easy to understand. Akbar, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon.
How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. You know, I got to weigh in on the Michael Jackson thing.
Okay. Michael Jackson versus Stevie Wonder, and we had Prince in there too.
And you have Prince.
Okay.
So they're all great. But what I noticed from people voting, I think that it's a demographic thing. I noticed a lot of people who remember Stevie when he was little tend to go with the Stevie Wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie Wonder had a lot of political songs, a lot of things that had meaning. Prince had some too. He had Ronnie Talks to Reagan. Of course, he had Sign of the Times.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
And so, and he was also in soundtracks. He's in the Batman soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
A Pretty Woman, Kiss, right? So,
wow.
And,
see, that stuff, you forget about that stuff.
You forget about that stuff. And they all have stuff like that. So that's my way in.
Well, you didn't say which one was one, man.
Listen, I may be dumb, but I'm not stupid.
I hear you, Akbar. Yeah, man. It's all of them had their pluses.
That's right. They're all great. They're all great in their own right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So yesterday was tax day. I filed an extension for that. They already gave us an extension. But the question that we have today is about taxes. So what's our question?
question is, I didn't file my taxes on time, but I think I am due a refund. How much will the IRS penalize me? That's a very good question. A huge percentage of the population that knew they would do a refund probably already filed, right? I mean, when that day comes around, people run and file their return. But you do have people who are last minute and are procrastinators. And Solomon, while I'm on the subject of refund, as of the middle of May, the IRS had a backlog of almost 4.7 million returns. Okay, and that's that's like the mid of May. But here's the problem with that. The problem is that people who filed paper returns, right, and do a refund, a lot of them haven't seen it yet, and that's because of COVID again. Because the IRS had to send a lot of their staff home, and so if you file a paper return and do a refund, the delay is a huge backlog. So with that said, if you are going to file a return after the fact, like today, tomorrow, next week, or whatever, make sure you try to do it electronically because you will not see that money for a long, long, long time. But to answer the question, if you file a late return and you're due a refund, the IRS will not penalize you. Okay, they won't do it. But with that said, there are some good reasons to file a return. One is if you're applying for a mortgage or a loan, you usually need proof of income. And that proof of income is usually your tax return.
That's right.
And you know that from your recent activity. You have 3 years to file for that return. So 3 years from the date of the return, or the date the return was due to file. After that, the government gets to keep your money. So you do not want the government to keep your money. And lastly, if you miscalculate it and you really owe, well, now the IRS and your bill with penalties and interest. All right. So if you think you're due a refund, but it turns out that you missed some income on your during your return, you missed a W-2 or 1099 or whatever, and it turns out that you do owe, then interest and penalties will accrue. All right. So, but with that said, let's flip over to people who owe taxes. Right. If you owe, file as soon as possible because the penalties and interest started to accrue yesterday on July 16th. All right. And the penalties are failure to pay penalty is 0.5% for each month or part of the month. So for every $1,000, you owe $5,000 a month. Okay, up to a total of 25%. But the failure to file penalty is even greater. All right, the failure to file penalty is 5% a month. So if you wait 2 or 3 months, that's a lot of money. That's $50 on every $1,000. All right, so it's important to get that return in as soon as possible because you don't want those penalties and interest to accrue. A lot of people like sweeping things under the rug, like hiding their head in the sand like an ostrich, and just hoping that if they owe taxes, it'll go away. It will not go away. The best thing to do for most people is just simply get on a payment plan. There are 2 types of payment. There are a couple of payment plans, but the payment plans that appeal to most people are the short-term payment plans, where they give you 120 days to pay, and then a long-term payment plan, which the form is a little bit longer, but at least you file that form, you're taking action. So the key is to take action now, because when it comes to taxes, things do not get better, they get worse. And the quicker you tackle it, the quicker you can resolve it, and the quicker it will go away. So file those taxes because that's part of your financial household. Like we talked about loans and things like that. Those are the things that people say, oh, my God, I did not pay. Oh, what happened? You know, I didn't last year. It just got away from me, and I didn't do it. And now you're stuck, and now you got to run around and file. So take care of that financial administrative stuff of doing your taxes now, and everything will be good.
All right. All right. Akbar, how do people get in touch with you?
I am on Twitter at AKHassanReal and email at akbar-hassan@comcast.net.
All right. That is Akbar Hassan. And now, you sure you still don't want to cast a vote, Michael or Stevie or Prince?
Listen, I'm a Prince guy.
Okay. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. All right, Akbar, thanks so much. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Solomon.
All right. So we're going to take your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show. You can also hit us on Facebook at 4Word. That's FORWURD, WURD and let us know your comments on the various topics we're talking about on this morning's show. So, of course, we're talking about our top 3 stories, which include the Supreme Court. Supreme Court approved Florida's poll tax, because that's really what it is. So when felons get out of jail in Florida, there was a time when they could not vote. The people voted and said, we want to restore their voting rights. Republicans were aghast, and so their state legislature, which is dominated by Republicans, as well as their Republican governor, put a rule in place that, okay, you can vote, but you got to pay off all your fines, all your fees, all your court costs before you can vote. That's really a poll tax. That's really what it is. And so I think we should do a GoFundMe to pay off those fines that at least some of those people have, so that they can vote. I want to know what you think about that. Also, we are talking about sports, race, and politics. The team formerly known as the Washington Redskins, they apparently had a sexual harassment problem in their offices. You had 15 women do a big expose in the Washington Post about sexual harassment that was rampant in that organization for years. And so you got that, but you also have the Atlanta Dream of the WNBA. Their co-owner is a Republican senator named Kelly Loeffler, and she said that the league should not support Black Lives Matter because she says it's a Marxist organization. So guess what? I think she needs to be pushed out of ownership. That's my thought. That's what happened with Donald Sterling when he was revealed to be a racist at the Los Angeles Clippers. The WNBA has said they will not do that with Kelly Loeffler. We'll see if that stands, given that almost all the players are black. And then story number 3, black people vulnerable to coronavirus. I wonder if that affects how politicians respond. Trump sits in the Oval Office hawking Goya beans while the virus kills 138,000 people. The governor of Oklahoma has the virus himself and still won't make people wear masks. Florida governor blames the media. Texas's governor won't shut down businesses. And then you have Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is kind of trying to undermine the leadership of a couple of black mayors there in Georgia, Keisha Lance Bottoms in particular, another black mayor named Van Johnson. Both of them put masks ordinance in place in their city, meaning that if you're in Atlanta, you got to wear a mask. If you're in Savannah, you got to wear a mask. 3,000 people are dead. The cases are going up. They wanted people to wear masks to try to stop the spread. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp steps in and says, no, you don't have to wear a mask. Keisha Lance Bottoms says we're going to do it anyway. And so he has taken Keisha Lance Bottoms to court. My question is this really about the people? Is it really about masks, or is it really about power? Is it really about race? Is it really about politics? Is it really about saying to these black people, and especially this black woman, you can't tell us what to do? Is it really about that? And are you willing to sacrifice people's lives in order to say you can't tell us what to do? It is bizarre. I want to know what you think. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. Diana from North Philly is on line 1. Go ahead, Diana.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Number 1, did they pick the trash up?
They did. They did. They picked the trash up yesterday, so kudos to the sanitation department. They did come and pick that trash up yesterday, yes.
Oh, good. I'm glad, because you were really outdone with
Yeah.
that. Anyway, my second thing I wanted to speak about is in Atlanta, there's a lot of power in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to shut the power down.
Yep.
There's a lot of money in Atlanta.
Yep.
I just came back from Hot, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I went on a road trip. I stayed 2 weeks. I came back on American Airlines. It was a great flight, clean flight. Everybody was masked up. I had a poncho, gloves, the whole 9 yards. Now I'm home quarantining, but I thank God that it didn't stop me from continuing to live my life.
Yeah.
You just have to live it the best that you can.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a question.
Yes.
It just keeps coming about. I don't know if you spoke about this or not. About these actors and actresses with this Epstein thing. Do you know anything about this? Or could you put it on your agenda?
I'm sorry, actors and actresses with Epstein.
Yeah, the guy Epstein.
Uh-huh.
You know, all of the supposedly powerful people, Oprah and Chrissy Teigen, and all of these people are supposed to be involved in some sort of pedophiling as far as the guy Jeffrey Epstein was concerned. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah,
I know.
I don't know everything. I wish I did.
Bugs in my ear, and I'm just like, what the world is the world coming to? So I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay.
I want to talk about fine if not, I can understand why.
Okay. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. She's talking about Jeffrey Epstein. He was a pedophile, and they claim he committed suicide in prison. Even I don't believe that. I think that given the people that he was connected to, Bill Clinton was in his orbit. So was Donald Trump. So was Prince Andrew, I think, over in Great Britain. And so there were a number of people who were friends with him, who had taken money from him, and et cetera. And so we'll see what happens with that. But 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Sherry from West Philly is online too. Go ahead, Sherry.
Good morning, Solomon. Thanks for picking up my call.
You're welcome.
Solomon, I am not surprised what's going on in Florida, in Georgia. I don't know if you got a chance yesterday to listen to the president. I feel like he has gone full gear in dividing us. This man was talking about pretty much suburbs. Black people are coming from the cities to infest your neighborhoods, and your house value is gonna go down.
He said what? It's hard to hear you because I know you're driving. I can hear your car moving. You hear the tires.
He said, moving your neighborhood, your house value is going to come down.
He said that?
Pretty much, yeah, that's what he was saying yesterday. Which, in other words, he's talking about reintegration is a problem. And, your neighborhoods, you should keep it white and keep it much valuable. These people should not move from the city and infest your suburbs. And now we see what is going on in Florida, okay? In Florida, and then behind closed doors, Solomon, this president, he's already saying that he's going to rig this election to stay in power. And Russia is fully invested into this, Solomon. We see what happened with Twitter a couple of days ago. And we don't know whether it's Russia or not, but Solomon, this is what is going on. Governor Kemp in Georgia is going to suppress voting. The same thing the governor in Florida. And Solomon, this is what this president, they're working behind closed doors to do.
Right.
And I hope everybody pay attention to this and nobody stay home to go out there and vote. And Solomon, I'd like to point one more thing. Now, the coronavirus cases is not going to be reported to the CDC anymore. It's the HHS. It's going to DC. Tell me, what do you think they are going to do with those numbers? Because the CDC needs to know those numbers, which community that is infected, and people who are being healed from this virus, so they can go on and see which places they can put measures in. But no, the Trump administration don't want that. They just want to focus on this election, stay in power, suppress votes, and probably use this coronavirus as an excuse or way to close polls in other areas. Thank you for picking up.
All right. Thanks, Sherry, for your call this morning on WURD Radio. That is concerning. And the president did do that. He's making a pitch to white suburban voters, saying that if Joe Biden gets his way, your home will go down in value and crime rates will rapidly rise. Joe Biden and his bosses from the radical left want to significantly multiply what they're doing now. And what will be the end result is you will totally destroy the beautiful suburbs. Suburbia will no longer be as we know it. So, I mean, he's running on fear. He's running on hate. And the question for me, for all of us, I think, as Americans, no matter what we look like, no matter where we come from, is that who we want to be? Is that who we want to be? Do we want to be a country that is ruled by fear and hate? And, you know, if the answer to that question is yes, then, you know, vote for Trump. You know, do what you need to do. If you believe we need to be a place that is run on fear and hate, then I think you should support Donald Trump. But if you don't think that, then I think you should look for some other alternatives. That's what I believe. I do. I don't want my life I don't want my life run by fear and hate. I don't want my country run by fear and hate. I don't want my children to grow up in fear and hate. I just don't. And that's what he's running on. And if you believe in that, you know, then do what you got to do. But if you don't, then do what you got to do. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go to Beverly from Burlington on line 3. Go ahead, Beverly.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
There should be a GoFundMe to help those released prisoners to continue to vote, since they did get the right to vote in the election. So now Florida wants to do, as you say, charge a poll tax. I would also like to see the Jamie Foxxes, Oprah, Tyler Perry, to put up the money for anyone who wants to take advantage of that so they can vote. We got to beat these governors where they think they got them now. But if people could put up the money, then all of these ex-prisoners could go out and vote. And also, Solomon, in terms of the coronavirus, I believe that a lot of the governors in the South, just like I heard the governor of Alabama say, in the beginning, she didn't feel that they should do what we were doing in the North because they were the South. Mm-hmm. And now look at all the cases. They didn't think it was going to hit them, and now it is hitting them. And I think that, unfortunately, they're going to see the brunt of this in September or October, when it really gets close to them going out and voting, and it's going to be too late for mail-in voting because Trump didn't want that, and it's going to all come back to bite him in the butt. Thanks, Solomon.
I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. You can, of course, also hit us on Facebook. We are going to go to break. On the other side of this break, we're going to continue the conversation right here on WURD.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Looking busy now on the westbound Schuylkill Expressway, University Avenue up to South Street. Past that point, though, everything pretty good all the way out to King of Prussia. Eastbound Schuylkill also moving along at decent speeds. Now, we've got a minor delay on southbound at 95. Cottman Avenue to Bridge Street, also Allegheny to Girard. And from Cottman to Bridge Street, we do have a lane closure there with some ongoing construction. Construction as well on westbound at 422. Royersford up to Saratoga. You're down to one lane there. Now let's head over to the New Jersey Turnpike southbound. Truck fire is off to the right shoulder south of Burlington Mount Holly, northbound 55. That slows as you approach 42. Construction underway on the eastbound Walt Whitman Bridge, and PATCO now requiring face coverings to ride. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jenny Robinson with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a Word Radio weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Stephen Sosna.
For this Friday, we're looking at some hazy sunshine, also a few passing sprinkles and showers during the morning hours, and then in the afternoon, an isolated shower or thunderstorm. High temperature up to 90 degrees. Over the weekend, it's all about the heat. 95, blazing sunshine on Saturday, up to 97 on Sunday. The feels like temperature Sunday afternoon, 100 to 105, and that continues even into early next week. Remember, you can get the 10-day forecast when you download the free NBC 10 app.
Do you need health insurance for your children? The Children's Health Insurance Program, also known as CHIP, provides quality, affordable health insurance for Pennsylvania kids. CHIP ensures that kids can go to the doctor, receive health screenings and vaccines, and get what they need to live a healthy childhood. Families can be covered by CHIP no matter how much money they make. If you've experienced a recent change in employment or income, CHIP may be a good option for your family. Visit chipcoverspakids.com to apply or learn more.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Times are changing, and you deserve a system designed to grow your business. Meet Jaxcom, the new standard in business class voice. Only Jaxcom gives you the most features per dollar. Things like visual voicemail, call monitoring, advanced call queues, virtual assistant, plus a lot more. The stuff the other guys charge you extra for or don't have. Jaxcom proudly supports Black-owned businesses. Reference WORD for 20% off any plan. Jaxcom. Visit us online at jaxcom.net. That's JAXCOM.net.
Be heard.
Be heard.
Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
Using the hashtag onWORD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
Always Best Care is a great place to work. Flexibility,
leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity, inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
You're waking up
with Word.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word, and we are taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio and let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show, of course. Talking about a number of things, sports, politics, and race. It's happening with two teams. One, the team formerly known as the Washington Redskins, where you have 15 women who are now saying that they were subject to sexual harassment on the job over a period of years, and that Dan Snyder and the ownership probably knew about it. The Washington Post has a big expose on that. And then you have the WNBA team, the Atlanta Dream. It's co-owned by Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler of Georgia. And she says she does not want the league to support Black Lives Matter because she says that Black Lives Matter is a Marxist group. To me, it's very interesting to see somebody who owns a team where most of the players are black saying that they don't want their league to support Black Lives Matter. The WNBA has said they won't force her to sell her share of ownership in that team. I think the WNBA needs to reconsider that decision based on what the NBA did with Donald Sterling when they found out he was a racist. They pushed him out. Story number two, the Supreme Court on Thursday said Florida can enforce a law barring ex-felons from voting if they still owe court fines or fees that they're unable to pay associated with their convictions. That, my friends, is a poll tax. I think we should do a GoFundMe and pay their fines ourselves. What do you think? Story number three, the response, the political response to the coronavirus, given that black people are disproportionately affected by this. I wonder if the response to this by some of our politicians is driven by politics and by race. Trump sits in the Oval Office hawking Goya beans while the virus kills 138,000 Americans. The governor of Oklahoma has the virus himself and still won't make people wear masks. Florida's governor blames the media. Texas's governor won't shut down businesses. But the one who really gets me is Florida Governor Brian Kemp. Kemp is the guy who suppressed black votes to cheat Stacey Abrams out of winning, and now he's still doing black folks dirty. You got two mayors, big city mayors in Georgia, Van Johnson of Savannah, Georgia, and Keisha Lance Bottoms of Atlanta, Georgia, both of whom have said they wanted to mandate masks in their cities because 3,000 people in Georgia have died from the virus and numbers are going up. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp steps in and says, no, we're not going to mandate people wearing masks. Y'all not going to tell us what to do. I'm the governor. The state rules override yours. Keisha Lance Bottoms said we're going to do it anyway because we're saving people's lives. And now Brian Kemp has taken her to court. My question is this. Is this really about the masks? Or is it about telling this black woman you can't tell us what to do? Is it about telling these black mayors you have no power? Is it about demeaning and diminishing these people and not allowing them to lead in the way that the people elected them to do? Is it really about that? Is it really about supporting Donald Trump and his push to try to act like this thing doesn't really exist, like it's not real, like we're all crazy, right? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Mike from North Philly is on line one. Go ahead, Mike.
Good morning, Solomon. How you doing today, good brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Four really quick things. First off, did they get your trash yesterday?
They did. Yes, they did.
You called them out. I love it.
Yes, they did.
The second thing is, back to the Prince Michael Jackson Stevie Wonder thing. Prince did write for Vanity 6 too. We missed that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And the third thing is, these Republicans are going to absolutely tear this country down. They're a bunch of whack jobs. We got coronavirus going on, civil unrest. Now the Russians are trying to steal the technology for the coronavirus cure. Everything about this government is corrupt. And if the people don't stand up, this is where we're going to be living from now on. And the last thing is, Solomon, I think it's very sad that in the last day and a half, who's killing our women out here? First we found a woman in a plastic tub. Somebody shoots a pregnant woman and kills her. And then this morning in the news, somebody drove by and shot another woman this morning. Got to get on it.
Got to get on it. Got to get on it. And I want to thank you so much for your call. We got to stand up for our women, man, and for our lives in our community. It is critical. It is critically important. I do want to give a shout out to the sanitation department. They did come and pick up that trash that I talked about yesterday. I know that they have people who are sick. I think that part of leadership, though, is moving around your resources where they're needed. And so my suggestion to the city is that if you don't have enough people currently in the sanitation department to pick up the trash effectively, perhaps you move some people from the streets department, right? Sanitation comes under streets. So perhaps you move some of the people from other parts of that department or other parts of city government. Perhaps you bring in some people temporarily, on a temporary basis to help deliver that very basic city service, right? But you got to do something because it's summer and you can't have trash sitting out for 3 and 4 days. Like that's just it's not healthy. And given that we're already dealing with a health crisis and we're already dealing with vermin, rats, mice, who have not been eating because you've had this virus and restaurants have been closed and, the garbage that they normally get in, just a lot that's attached to that. We need the trash picked up. So I want to give a shout out to sanitation for hearing my cry yesterday and coming and picking up that trash. We appreciate it. 215-634-8065. Penda from West Philly is on line one. Go ahead, Penda.
Solomon, I was calling in reference to people wearing the masks and everything.
Yes.
I know that there is something out there, and people need to wear, when they're out. But I have listened to this doctor, Dr. Rashid Buttar, and he's a medical doctor, and he had a convention a couple months ago with all these medical doctors. And what they were saying, some of these doctors were saying that they were told that they had to write down a person died from COVID, whether it was COVID or not. And they also were talking about at this convention that some of these machines that are being used as testing, or some of them are coming up positive, negative, and they're not sure if these are accurate numbers, for people getting it. But at the end of the day, what I'm telling people is this. Okay, act as though you come in contact with it, but most importantly, we have to build our immune system up while we're in all of this. Stress levels can bring your immune system down, And like my brother-in-law passed, my cousin's, mother-in-law passed also. But I know there's something out there, but people have to stay focused on eating, building your immune system. And I think, this is me, I think a lot of these numbers are pushed and everything so that we can take this vaccination.
There is no vaccination. So I don't know why people keep talking about there is no vaccination. And here's the bottom line, right? Now, y'all can listen to conspiracy theorists, whatever. Wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, wear your mask, stay 6 feet apart. Like, regardless of where it comes from, what it is, whatever, it's killing people in our community. We know this. We've seen people die in our community from this. So, like, I don't understand you know what I'm saying? For real, man. I mean, at the end of the day, for real. And, wear your mask, wash your hands, use your hand sanitizer, keep yourself safe. Of course, you build up your immune system, right? But, all this stuff about ain't no vaccine. There is no vaccine. Like, that's not even an issue at this point. Deal with that when it gets here. But for right now, try not to get it. You know what I mean? Take care of yourself. I mean, that's where I'm at. Jim from Springfield is online, too. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you, Solomon, and it's Tim.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ken.
Well, I need some help with this. Please help guide me on this. I've got a good friend whose wife was killed in a car accident that they were involved in Chester County. The man who hit them, 6 DUI. He's been sentenced to jail and also a huge fine. Mm-hmm. I have trouble in my mind thinking that once he serves his time, if he has not paid his fine, that he should be able to vote. On the other hand, when I went to college at Franklin Marshall up in Lancaster 50 years ago, I had a government professor, Sidney Wise, and he had been a lawyer down in the South, and he talked about what African Americans had to deal with in the southern states about voting. And he told this story to us in class. He said that a woman had gone in to vote, and she was given a test. And the test was, we want you to recite the Declaration of Independence. And, of course, she couldn't do it because nobody could do that.
Right.
And I realized 50 years ago the arrogance of these people trying to get people to stop them from voting. And I've realized that for 50 years. But I struggle with because I do see a poll tax. Help me with this, can you, or not?
Well, in Pennsylvania, there is no issue because in Pennsylvania, once you've served your time, you can vote. That's a state-by-state issue in terms of whether or not you can vote after you've been convicted of a crime, done your time, and gotten out. In Pennsylvania, you can vote. And, there's double jeopardy. You can't, you can't punish a person twice. They've already done their time. Once they get out, in my view, you should have full citizenship rights restored, including voting. And so, that person does their time, they get out. In Pennsylvania, you can vote.
Okay.
All right. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WRD. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk with our next guest. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
If you want to start your morning with mindfulness, motivation, and inspiration, tune in to Daybreak with me, Helana, here on WURD Radio, Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. I'm a health and wellness coach with over 15 years experience helping people to transform their lives. On the show, we talk health and wellness 360, from getting your mind right to getting your money right. So let's rise and shine together right here on WURDradio.com, 96.1 FM, 900 on your AM dial on Daybreak every morning.
1 in 23 will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer in their lifetime, yet more than 60% of deaths from colorectal cancer could be avoided with preventative screening. A colonoscopy can save your life. Skip the pre-visit and schedule your screening directly at einstein.edu/colon. Colon cancer is preventable. Learn more at einstein.edu/colon.
Tune in this Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. for the Islam Today show, with a perspective on moral guidance and Islamic principles and values.
Want the latest in Word swag? Check out the shop tab on WordRadio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WordRadio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media. Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. Back by popular demand. It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. And we're going to talk with our next guest. He is Attorney Riley Ross III of Mincy Fitzpatrick Ross. Talking about the ousting of the president of Lincoln University, Dr. Brenda Allen. Riley Ross, welcome to the show.
Solomon, good morning. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So what happened with the president of Lincoln University?
Well, Solomon, we filed a complaint yesterday along with a petition for a emergency injunction to really speak to what has happened to her over the last couple of weeks. The Board of Trustees, or at least a section of or a faction of the Board of Trustees, took it upon themselves to deny her the opportunity to renegotiate her employment agreement. And what they then did was they orchestrated a illegal vote in violation of the Sunshine Act in order to stack the Board of Trustees and prevented people from voting so that her contract was not extended and essentially left her without an employment contract. However, that did not mean that she's no longer the president. She was actually brought in as president under their bylaws, and their bylaws require certain procedures to remove her. And the board has not followed those procedures, but because of that vote, they think that gives them the authority to remove her from the presidency. So they have since locked her out of Lincoln University. They've denied her access to her email. They've denied her access to the office. They're essentially getting right in the way of her performing her duties as president, which, you know, when you have a pandemic that's going on and she's trying to figure out how to safely reopen the school, this is causing a lot of trouble and a lot of harm.
So you mentioned the Sunshine Act. That usually applies to government entities. Lincoln is not that. Why in this case would the Sunshine Act apply? Like they have to, people have to know about it. It has to be public. Why does it apply to them?
Well, Lincoln is actually a pseudo-government entity. They, because of their affiliation with the state and because of some support that they received from the state, they have this pseudo-state agency designation, actually not similar, but exactly like Temple University. Mm-hmm. So because of that, that's why they come under the governing authority of the Sunshine Act. And the act itself requires that certain things have to be done out in the open, in the sunshine, in front of the public. Mm-hmm. And that includes votes like the one that they took to not extend her contract. That they held a meeting, but actually prevented the public from participating or from viewing that vote. They did that vote in executive session, and the Sunshine Act explicitly says that no formal business can be conducted in executive session. But that's what the Board of Trustees did.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're talking with Attorney Riley Ross about the removal of Brenda Allen, Dr. Brenda Allen, as the president of Lincoln University. Now, all of this sounds, very, very mysterious, and it sounds like, something that was kind of underhanded. But I guess my question is, why would they do this? Why does Dr. Allen and her supporters, why do they believe that they did this?
Well, that's a big question, and let me be clear that the Board of Trustees, I refer to the Board of Trustees, but there is a subsection of them. We actually named 4 specific members: the chair, Teresa Braswell, the vice chair, Demetrius Hutchinson, and 2 others who were involved with orchestrating this illegal vote. There are several members of the Board of Trustees who support Dr. Allen and not only voted against that motion, but actually voted against the actual motion being discussed and held. And then she has a ton of alumni support, a ton of student support, and a ton of faculty support. And all of them are asking that question, why? Because since she's arrived at Lincoln University 3 years ago, she's done nothing but improve at school. She's improved retention among students. She's improved graduation rates. Their ranking has gone up. So yeah, the question as to why, I don't have the answer to that, and not many people do, because she's done nothing but great things for Lincoln since she's been there. And that's why over 14,000 people have signed a petition, even before this vote happened, signed a petition to renew her contract because the Board of Trustees was not moving on renewing her contract.
Well, I guess my question is this. So you say it's a subsection of the board. Did the whole board come together and do this vote, and did a majority of them vote to have her removed?
No and no. So first of all, with regards to the whole board coming together, and when you go into a vote, obviously you try to count your vote and know where things are going to come out. At least that's what my union friends tell me is a smart thing to do before you bring the vote. Count your vote. And so we think that Chair Braswell was doing that and knew that it was going to be a close vote with the people she was talking to. However, there've been 5 new Board of Trustee members that have been appointed by not only the governor, but also the House of Representatives. So because it is a state associated school, there are members of the governor has a certain number of appointees, and the legislator has a certain number of appointees. And together they appointed 5 individuals beginning in January up to today. Those 5 individuals were not allowed to participate in this meeting or to vote, and that was orchestrated by Chair Braswell, because I think she believed that some or not, maybe all of them were going to be voting in favor of Dr. Allen. When the vote came out, the vote was actually 11 to 11. 11 to negotiate a new contract, 11 not to. So that meant that the vote failed because there was no majority vote. Had any of those 5 been allowed to vote, we think it would have come out differently, and we think that Chair Braswell knew that, and that's why she prevented them from voting.
How could she prevent 5 people from voting, the 5 new people from voting?
Well, you've been talking a lot about the COVID-19 and the pandemic. Well, the pandemic has served to work in her favor. Because of the pandemic, the meeting was held by Zoom conference call, and I'm sure a lot of people listening are now familiar with how Zoom conference calls work. There were over 250 people from the public that attended this conference call because they knew that they wanted to be there to support Dr. Allen. The way that the call was set up, you had one member, James Jordan, who was a board member who was named defendant. He served as the host of the meeting, and that gave him control over who could participate and who couldn't by way of muting everyone. You come on and you're muted, you can't speak unless you're unmuted, and Trustee Jordan had that power. So the 5 members were not allowed to speak because they were never unmuted. In fact, when the roll call was conducted at the beginning of the meeting, their names were not even brought up, even though that they were in attendance, all 5. So they weren't even called to the roll as if they were trustees. When the executive session happened, and remember I said that the vote happened in the executive session, Trustee Jordan actually could remove people by the way that the Zoom works. You can be taken out of the public meeting and put into basically a side room, and that's where the executive session happened. And when he moved everyone into the side room, he, at the chair's direction, did not move in those 5 newly appointed members. So because of
Go ahead.
the way that the pandemic worked, it's not a physical meeting where people can show up and say, I want to be heard. They had a lot of control over who was being heard and how they were being heard, and that's how the 5 were prevented.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm trying to get down to a bottom line. How many people voted in the vote to remove her, and what was the tally?
22 people voted on whether or not to extend her contract, and the tally was 11-11.
So how is it that she's removed if it was a tie?
Well, then that's the other point. This was just about renewing her contract. Whether or not she's president is actually a separate issue that the Board of Trustees is completely ignoring. They believe that because her contract is not renewed, therefore she's no longer president, and that is simply not the case. The contract it just governs how she performs her job as president, not whether or not she's president. And that's why we had to bring the complaint, because one has nothing to do with the other. But the Board of Trustees is believing that because there's no contract, now we have an opening, now we can remove her and put a new person in place. So the fact that they then took steps to remove her and to lock her out, that's what we filed our complaint against, because she is still president, but she's being prevented from doing her duties.
Okay, so it was 11-11. She already had a contract in place. They couldn't decide whether or not to renegotiate her contract. So does that mean that the old contract still stands?
No, it doesn't, because it's like this, Solomon. It's basically saying, I'm going to hire you to come work for me, and we agree on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, what you're going to do when you come here and work, that's a separate issue that we're going to work a contract out, and we're going to define that. So that contract, that separate contract on what you're going to do once you come to work for me, that's the thing that is no longer in existence. You're still an employee because we have a separate agreement where I hired you and you agreed to come in and work for me. Now we have to negotiate what you're going to do while you're here. So the fact that we haven't negotiated what you're going to do while you're here doesn't take away from the fact that you have a job with me because I've offered it to you and you accepted it.
All right. I don't want the people to be confused. So the bottom line is that they had an 11-11 vote on whether or not to renew her contract. So they did not decide to renew her contract. And now they're trying to oust her based on her contract not being renewed. What is it that Dr. Allen is looking for now through the suit that you filed?
And you're right, Solomon. It is a confusing thing, and I think the board is banking on that confusion in order to try to prove what they're doing is okay, and that's why we had to go to court. What she's looking to do is have a court step in and say what the board is doing is illegal, and they have to stop it. Basically, they have to stop interfering with her ability to perform as president because she is still the president. We want the court to say, to declare that she is still the president and that what they're doing by locking her out is illegal. And there are complicated things that get into that, and that's why we had to have the court step in.
All right.
Make that clear.
All right. All right. Well, that is Attorney Riley Ross III of Mincy Fitzpatrick Ross, LLC. He is representing, their firm is representing Dr. Brenda Allen. She's president of Lincoln University. The board is trying to oust her, and she's not going without a fight. So I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you so much, Solomon. And I'll just say that Dr. Allen really appreciates all the support that she's receiving from the public. I've never had a client that has had so much overwhelming support from the public, and she really appreciates it.
All right. All right. So thank you so much. We're going to take your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Of course, you can also weigh in on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. And let us know where you are on these various things that we are talking about on this morning show. FORWURD is where you can weigh in. So we're talking about a number of things, including Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon, of course, has been accused of anti-Semitism. He had a conversation on his podcast with Professor Griff from Public Enemy. Professor Griff has some beliefs around who the real Jews are, whether they are black or whether they are white. He believes they are black and that we are the real people of Israel, the real Hebrews, etc. They got into that conversation. Nick Cannon said some things that Viacom, the company that he works for or worked for, they thought those things were anti-Semitic, and so Nick Cannon apologized. He said he didn't mean it that way, and he's fired from Viacom. but continues to work at Fox, where he's the host of The Masked Singer. And now he is trying to push for Viacom to give him some compensation or even ownership of some of the things that he created while he was there, including a comedy sketch piece called Wildin' Out that has been at Viacom for, I don't know, 15 years or so. And so the question is, are they going to do that or not? And should he have been fired or not? So I want to hear from you about that. Of course, we're talking about the Supreme Court deciding that Florida has the right to say to felons who have done their time and still owe court fees and costs, y'all can't vote until you pay these court fees and costs. In my view, that is a poll tax. That is a voter suppression method. And maybe we just need to do a GoFundMe and help these brothers and sisters, these people, to pay their court costs so that they can vote. Maybe we just need to do that. And, of course, story number 3, I'm looking at what's happening in Georgia. And in Georgia, you have the mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, who is black, along with the mayor of Savannah, Georgia, Van Johnson, who is black. Both of them put mask ordinances in place. 3,000 people have died from COVID in Georgia. The numbers keep going up. And they are trying to make sure that they protect their people by having them wear masks. And the Georgia governor, Brian Kemp, stepped in and said, well, no, y'all don't have to wear masks. State law trumps city law. I'm going to make it so you don't have to wear masks. And my question is, why are you doing that? Are you doing that to protect the people? It's obvious to me that you're not, because you've got 3,000 people dead. The numbers continue to go up. And you have these black mayors trying to provide some leadership in the cities where they are mayors, where they have been appointed. And you step in and try to undermine them, try to undercut them. Keisha Lance Bottoms said, we're going to do it anyway. Brian Kemp went as far as to go to court against Keisha Lance Bottoms. And my question is, why? Why are you doing that? I mean, what is it about? Because there's no good reason to do that if you're trying to protect the people. So is it about you saying to this black woman, you have no right to lead? Is it about you saying to this black woman, you're not going to tell us what to do? Is it about you saying to this black woman that I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that you stay in your place? I mean, is that what it's really about? Because it can't be about protecting the people if the people are dying and masks help to keep this thing from spreading. It can't be about that. So what's it about? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Steve from Hainesport is on line 1. Go ahead, Steve.
So real quick, Solomon, the first thing is the thing in Florida. Yeah, a GoFundMe would be good to set up. So at least if this is what it is, pay it. Let's get these people to vote. I think everybody has the right to vote. Mm-hmm. The other thing is the mask. I'm having a problem with these masks myself, and here's the reason why I'm bringing that up. Dr. Fauci, I think he did a 60 Minutes thing, and he said the mask won't work.
How long ago was that? How long ago was that?
When he just that was back in March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, did it.
All right, I just want to make sure we know that.
Then he said it will work. Then he said we need to go out, and then he said we need to calm it down. I don't trust anything Fauci says. I don't know where that guy comes from. I don't know what kind of degree he has, but he needs to stop it. But here's the other thing.
Who does Fauci work for? What administration does he work for?
Don't you work for the CDC?
What administration does he work for? Who's the president? Who's the president, sir?
Trump is the president.
Oh, okay. So he's part of whose task force on coronavirus, sir?
No, I'm saying.
Whose coronavirus task force is Fauci part of?
I guess Donald Trump.
Right. No, you don't guess. You know. You know. So he's part of Donald Trump's coronavirus task force, and I think it's important for us to know that, because I think that Fauci over time has said, you know what, I can't do this, because I think that Fauci, who is an epidemiologist, right, and who is an authority on these diseases, I think over time he probably say, you know what, I can't toe the party line anymore. I have to tell the truth. That's what I think. That's my theory. I don't know. I'm not in his heart. But I think that's why his message has changed over time. I think in the beginning, they were trying to downplay this thing. He was trying to go along to get along with Trump. And I think now he's like, you know what? I got to tell the truth. That's what I think.
But let me say one more thing, and I'll go real quick. The New England Journal of Medicine said the masks don't work. And I'm like, well, wait a minute.
When did they say that?
Listen, I'm just saying.
When did they say that? No, when did they say that? Because you putting stuff out there that's really going to harm our people. So I just want to know, when did they say that?
No, I'm not.
When did they say that? When did they say that?
February or late March.
Okay, well, it's July, man. It's July. 138,000 people done died. And here's what I need us to understand, right? That medicine is something that's practiced. And so what that means is that they are learning as they do. They are learning over time, right? And so if you putting out stuff that happened in February as if it happened today, see, that's why I ask these questions, right? Because I don't want our people confused. I don't want our people dying for the lack of knowledge. Right? For the lack of knowledge, our people perish, right? So you putting out stuff from February as if it just happened today, well, that's misleading, right? And so over time, they have learned more about this disease. We have learned more about this disease. And so the information changes over time. That doesn't mean people are lying. It just means that they're learning more. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Weather and traffic to keep you informed for your drive home.
In the happy hour
With Sincerely Sarita.
Monday through Thursday, 4 till 7 p.m.
Right here
on Word Radio, 96.1 FM.
and 900 AM WURD. This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
Undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD. This is Word Radio. Independent Black Media.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-965-5269. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible, without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk to call. For free information, call now. 1-800-965-5269. That's 1-800-965-5269. 1-800-965-5269.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM.
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go to Linda from Wisconsin on line 1. Go ahead, Linda.
Well, hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You might wonder why I'm calling from Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay. Why are you calling from Madison, Wisconsin?
Well, it's because Daddy's from Carlisle and Mom's from Harrisburg, and I spent most of my years, very little, growing up in Harrisburg.
Okay.
Before we went, okay, but here's where it gets tough. From there, we thought that wasn't rough enough, so we went to Valdosta, Georgia.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
But I have to call and support you.
Thank you.
Number one, you, me, and a whole bunch of people, we have to support the people who are wearing masks and washing their hands.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both know that some people can become a teenager and stay a teenager their entire life. They're not going to listen.
That's true. That's true.
So I don't want you to get too tired trying to say, you know, you got these people watching a car wreck, and most of us are out there trying to save lives, but there's a couple of people standing on the corner saying, oh, her shirt went up.
Yep.
Okay, we can't do anything with them. But I need you to use your power to help the people that are washing their hands and wearing the mask and get this message out. Do not listen to people who do not listen. I want to keep saying that because we're working with this, and some of the people that I work with are on the phone doing contact tracing and stuff, and I'm telling you, you won't believe this, but they're on the phone with people who are positive and symptomatic, and the person on the phone would say, I don't believe I'm sick.
Wow.
Okay? That's not black. That's not white. That is the American mind. If an American says, I believe today is Sunday, you're never going to tell them it's Friday.
Yeah.
So we don't have time for them. So 2 little things here to help. People are confusing virus with transmission. The virus is doing its thing. I think we're on the 9th version right now. And the virus will constantly do its thing. And it's very hard to catch up with them because the virus is smarter than us. The transmission, there are kids taking high school biology that can tell you about transmission. And people have to understand, do you want to talk about the virus? Do you want to talk about transmission? Transmission is very clear. There's no question. Stop playing. Stop playing. Don't tell me what you heard about the virus. Transmission is very clear.
Tell us about transmission. How is it transmitted?
Okay, 100% zero transmission if you're outside and there's nobody within 6 to 10 feet of you. They could be on the last minute of their life. You're not going to get it. If you're inside, you have to cover. If there's an HVAC system blowing stuff around, you have to find out what kind it is. Is it recirculating, or is it bringing in fresh air? Is it UV light? What's it doing? And if you can get that under control, and let me tell you, people are running around spending a lot of money on this and that. That virus is 100% killed with any soap and water. It cannot tolerate the little thing that is like hitting the grape with a hammer. It can't handle soap and water.
So if it's on your hands, you wash your hands thoroughly, and the virus breaks down.
There are 3 parts to washing your hands. But you sing the happy birthday song, I think, at least 2 times, and you have to take care of between your fingers and your thumbs and your tips. And your children and the little tiniest ones and the older folks are good. It can't tolerate that. But the transmission, well, people are like teenagers, you know, trying to explain to people what is being transmitted. Is it a droplet or is it a virus? How much virus do I have to come in contact with to get symptoms? And how many symptoms do I have before I have to go to the hospital? And how many which resistance will kill you. I tell you, it's very difficult to explain to a teenager, but you got enough grown-ups listening to you. You got this. So just try to say, okay, well, you know, you keep working on it. Keep working on this, and you'll get it.
Yeah.
But I know here in Wisconsin, the black community is just being wiped out, and you see this nonsense. They think, okay, you know, we're the original grown-ups. Okay. So let's just go back to being grown-ups. That's all I wanted to say is that transmission is what they're struggling with, and you can't really explain transmission very easily.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for listening all the way from Madison, Wisconsin, and thank you for your call this morning on WURD. Linda, we appreciate you. May from West Philly is online, too. Go ahead, May.
And, you know, I hope everyone is, you know, doing well. I have a comment regarding the mayor of Florida who put the issue. Okay, so, you know, I mean, I heard you, and I you know, you're probably right that because she's a black mayor that they want to, you know, put her back down in her place, et cetera. But I also thought that it could be the rich white coalition, so to speak, who are backing those who are not like us, who are not us, who say, you know, we don't want to wear a mask, and, you know, manipulating in the governor's ear, saying, you know, I don't know if it's strictly because she's black mayor. Because
yeah, I don't know that it's strictly that either. I think part of it is political. You know, Donald Trump wants to convince us that this thing is not real, and if it is, it's not as bad as we think it is, right? And so he has allies who are governors, like Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia. We're talking about Georgia, by the way, who want to help him to pretend it's not real. And if you tell people they should not wear masks, then you are helping him to pretend it's not real. And if people can be convinced this is not real, this is not as bad as, then, you know, they can vote for Donald Trump. Well, 138,000 people died. It's not a big deal. I think part of it's political, and I've said that. Yep.
Yeah, because, you know, and I'm going to get off it, because I hear all the time and see the people who are saying, oh, I'm not wearing a mask, you know, and, you know who basically they are. And they're out there, and how many of them, I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Sheila from Overbrook on line 3. Go ahead, Sheila.
Hi, Solomon. Just two things. If, in fact, those governors and whomever else is out there in the political world are spouting this no mask mess because they're, like, kowtowing to Trump. Yeah, I just want to say spiritually, because I know everything is spiritual, everything. There's a book that you and I both read, and there's a verse in there that talks about how I saw him fall like lightning. So they can go ahead and follow him if they want to. And when he falls like lightning, and he will fall like lightning, they will too. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, Solomon, was this Dr. Fauci thing. You and I discussed this before. Dr. Fauci has been under 5 different presidents.
Yep.
Both Bushes, Clinton, Obama, and now Trump. And there was no confusion under any of those men. Now, I'm not saying that I'm all that politically savvy and, you know, that I've been paying attention as much as I do since I started listening to you. But as far as I know, there was nobody talking about this man wasn't qualified, and I forget that other nut over there in Kentucky talking about the man, you know, full of baloney or whatever, until Trump got in. Trump is the author of confusion. But here's what's going on now with Trump quickly. Now Trump is backpedaling. Now all of a sudden, we're all one team. Pence yesterday. We support Dr. Fauci. See, and all of those ones that are following behind Trump are going to end up just where he's going to end up, but worse. But worse, because Trump is up and down and in and out, and whatever way the wind blows, and this whole thing is just chaos. So, you know, get this whole thing about Dr. Fauci, and you're right, Solomon, when he was saying that he wasn't sure if masks work, It was back in February and March.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a good one.
All right, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. I'm telling you, man, we just have to do what we have to do for us. I mean, regardless of what you believe in terms of the origins of the virus, where it comes from, you know, whatever, doesn't mean you don't have to wash your hands. You should have been washing your hands anyway, for real, for real. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about you should have been washing your hands anyway. I'm looking at some of y'all like, yo, your nails, bruh. Wash your hands. Like, come on, man. 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Gail from Northeast Philly is on line 4. Go ahead, Gail.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good
How
morning.
Are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Chaos, confusion, and poison. That's what's being said to us.
Yep.
I just wanted to say that I looked at Sister Nick Cannon, and I was just saying sometimes when we talk and philosophy and say our truth, now it's confused, and this is the prime time for anybody to say, see, they're doing it too. They're doing it too. To point to us because we're saying, feel our pain, understand us, and we can live in this. So we know that everybody is not an ally, and the sad part is anything to quiet us. We're not a monolith, so we have many different opinions.
Yep.
But they don't like to hear them all. As far as Donald Trump, we got to get out there and vote because we know he has put the poison into everybody, and those people who want to go with it, like Kemp, like Santos, are doing what they have to do to continue to destroy. And after he's gone, the destruction's already in place. You know, and I think sometimes we have to look at this because it leads to a totalitarian society. That's what he wants. Have a good day.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. Spread Love is on line 1. Good morning.
God bless, Brother Solomon. How you making out, family?
I'm good. How are you?
Give God the glory, family. Thank you for your show, of course. Thank you for WRD family, my man Jordan on the boards. And hearts go out to all the victims of everything that's going on right now. It's overwhelming in a lot of ways. So, you know, may we always be compassionate with everyone involved. You know what I mean? God bless our hearts. I'm not going to be too long, Brother Solomon. I just want to volunteer a couple of things real quick. About Nick Cannon, there's historical evidence, Brother Solomon, that the biblical Israelites are black people. And that's been for years. It's something that I feel is suppressed so that we could be denied our true cultural and spiritual heritage, you know what I mean, our identity. It's a shame it's something that's being deceived. But if you remember, the whole goal of this system was to deceive us into being subservient so that we would be subservient to the system. But if you also want to look, there's a book, I'll get the name of it next time, by a colleague of William Penn. When they came over to survey the land, he saw people that was already over here and drew like a pencil etching of them. They look like black Africans, big afros. He said himself, this must be the lost tribes of Israel. So that was back in the, 1600s? And I don't know if he was labeled anti-Semitic, but I don't think he was be considered a black man. It's a white man. So, you know, there's a lot of historical evidence from white and black people to support that. So I think the conversation should be, let's look at the authenticity of these statements in an open forum, because being honest about it can help bring the healing. Another thing I want to say real quick, I heard yesterday on the radio, I confirmed this, 140 sanitation workers have passed away, I think, as a direct result of the COVID.
In Philadelphia?
Yes.
Really? Yeah, I got to look that up. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Yeah, I got to look that up. 215-634-8065 is the number you can call. But first, we are going to talk with Greg Corbin and Nina Lirespect Ball about what's happening with mural arts on the other side of this break. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Emerge is a public service announcement campaign produced by Mural Arts Philadelphia and sponsored by the City of Philadelphia to inspire our community to emerge resilient and hopeful in the face of COVID-19 and systemic racism.
COVID-19 inside my city. First global pandemic got me feeling real. Can't even see my mama. Miss me with all this new corona drama. I want to go back to the way things were, but now the way things were seem like one big blur. Fear, panic, sadness, propaganda, yo. We need answers. Then the uprising came. Stakes is high, this ain't no game. 3 months in the crib on lock, then another killer cop took a black brother's life on video. Oh no, not again. When will it end? Knee on George Floyd's neck, the whole nation caught wreck. The people said, no more. Racism must not endure. From city to city, nobody ever said the real revolution would be pretty. When will everybody realize black lives always mattered? And anyway, COVID-19 still inside these cities. We still stood strong though. I'm so proud of you, Philly. Mask up with your fists up, even though things got gritty. When we emerge, gonna feel like real victory.
To learn more, go to muralarts.org/emerge. How will you emerge?
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around, and every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage. The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at storycorpsconnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com. Show some love for your favorite neighborhood with Word Radio. It's the Summer of Freedom Virtual Neighborhood Love Tour. Mondays and Thursdays now through August 20th from 1 p.m. till 2:30 p.m. Shining a light on Philadelphia's neighborhoods with a focus on neighborhood history, Philadelphia's freedom fighters, and community resources that are helping to shape the city's future. Mondays with the rapping professor Dr. Aaron Smith and Thursdays with Andrea Lawful Sanders. It's the Summer of Freedom Virtual Neighborhood Love Tour. Mondays and Thursdays 1 p.m. till 2:30 p.m. exclusively on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com, the Word Radio app, and on Word TV via YouTube and Facebook. The Summer of Freedom Virtual Neighborhood Love Tour is sponsored by Wells Fargo and PICO. It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Good morning. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WRD. Every time I hear that piece, it makes me think about the Jabari tribe coming out on Black Panther. Huh, you know what I mean? Brothers coming out like that. Like, yeah, that's what I want to hear. We appreciate that. And we appreciate our next guests that are coming up. Greg Corbin, Director of Restorative Justice for the Mural Arts Program of Philadelphia, also founder of the award-winning Philadelphia Youth Poetry Movement and co-founder of Slam League. And Nina Elizabeth Lyrespect Ball. I should know that name well. She's one of my former students. She's an award-winning lyricist, voiceover actor, and educator and curator. I want to welcome you both to the show. They're here to talk about Mural Arts Emerge campaign. Welcome to you both.
Hey, thank you so much, Solomon. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to hear your voice, Nina.
Yours too.
How you doing?
I'm making it. I'm actually at home with my family and my mom right now before
Okay.
I get away, but writing, blessed, healing, growing, all that.
And you're writing. That's the first thing you said. Okay. All right now. Don't make me. All right. Now we appreciate that. Look. So
Yeah,
we're
right.
there you go. So that's Lyrespect. And of course Greg Corbin, Director of Restorative Justice for the Mural Arts Program of Philadelphia. Greg, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Solomon. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You getting your rest?
I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it.
Okay, you're going to need it, bruh. Get your rest now.
I appreciate it.
All right.
That underlying shout out. Thank you for the love, Sal.
No doubt, no doubt. So, Greg, we'll start with you. What is this Emerge campaign?
Okay, so the Emerge campaign is a campaign that aims to foster inspiration and hope in this moment of COVID-19 and dealing with the intersections of not just COVID-19, but also the impact of systemic racism. It's meant to build some strength and resilience, and especially for people of color challenged by both pandemics. What we've come to observe is that we thought COVID-19 was the main virus that was, amplifying all these racial and ethnic disparities. What we came to find out is that systemic racism is a real virus that we have to deal with because we're confronting it every day. And, the goal of the Emerge campaign is to think about what else can we make contagious, right? So what else can we bring to the world and what else can we bring forth? And so the goal is to get people to think about becoming leaders that they wish they'd be led by, right? But also creating a sense of dialogue because COVID-19 is not going anywhere and these issues aren't going anywhere. So we're going to need that energy and that fuel. And I'll say this too, the Emerge campaign also is a pivot away from the way mural arts it traditionally works, where you may see us doing murals all around the city. This is the first real opportunity we've had to say, oh, let's see what this looks like on the radio. Let's see what it looks like on social media, and let's see what it looks like in physical spaces. So we also have posters that will be going up all over the city over the next week that really that will reflect the words and contribution of the artists, such as Liv Respect, and Brown, Ursula Rucker, and then our guild members, our guild members who are involved. And, just real quickly about the guild, it's our reentry program that serves 18 to 26-year-olds. And we'll actually be, we're aiming at cutting down recidivism by creating opportunities for people to professionally and personally develop and transform their livelihood, because we do work with people who are on the fringes who have been disposed because of that scarlet letter dealing with the incarceration system.
Okay.
So any justice impacted individuals out there, we will be hiring, very soon. Almost like we'll be putting out information today about the next opportunity.
Okay, let's talk with Liv Respect. So what role do you play in this Emerge campaign?
So I was invited to be a writing coach and also to produce my own PSA. When the opportunity came about, I jumped at it. We were having weekly meetings, and we were all assigned mentees. And I'm glad that you asked, because I had an opportunity to work with a young man for a very short amount of time. But my mentee actually transitioned. He passed away in the middle of the project. So I want to raise up his voice, Tamir Redding, and maybe a little later on I can read to you a PSA in progress that he shared with me, as well as my own, because they're all very short. But I came on, and our role was to coach guild members, but to work with them to help launch their own PSA, refine their writing, tighten up the flow, whatever it might be, in a very limited amount of time. And I should say also, it's beautiful how organically the project came together, because initially, as Greg mentioned, it was just about COVID, keeping communities protected. I was always looking to have the slant of how do we speak to the Black and Brown communities specifically that are disproportionately affected by the pandemic. But then everything popped off when we started marching and protesting, and we all came back, and the tone was different in our weekly meeting, and we were like, we got to go, we got to get this going, we have to speak about this as well, and everyone was on the same page. ISIS popped it off, ISIS the Savior, Earth jumped in, Freeway jumped in, and all of our guild members, we were all on the same page, and I thought it was really beautiful to have that level of flexibility that Mural Arts was like, yeah, let's take it to the next level, and gave it the thumbs up. Shout out to Kylie Silverman, who's been holding it down, and we were able to really get free in our level of expression, because I think you can't talk about one without the other. It's the elephant in the room, and if we're changing things and breaking chains and evolving, why not use this platform that's existed for years in Philadelphia and serve many communities to really reach out and reach beyond the COVID?
Absolutely. So Greg, what are the next steps?
So the next step is to tighten up the campaign, to continue to amplify it and market it to communities. We are part of a network called Art for Justice, so we're working with them on that as well. We're going to actually do a round 2 of this. It's currently in development. Freeway and I just did a talk yesterday online about art and activism and how Emerge was a component of that as well. And so we'll be doing more online conversations. We're also looking at what a conversation could look like as far as the creative process around Emerge. And as Mayor Speck just shared, we lost to Mayor Redding in the midst of the process. And, so how do people come together in this moment with all these different changes, because COVID-19 it's an existential crisis for everybody, and it's an invisible earthquake that continues to shake up the world. And so we do have to acknowledge that the cleansing and all these metaphors about washing our hands, we're starting to get rid of these old structures and these old systems and these old habits of interacting as human beings. And I do want to shout out Callie Silverman. She's been amazing behind the scenes with the administrative component, making sure that everybody remains connected, making sure that we're following through and closing loops. She deserves so much credit. And so thanks for bringing up her name.
Yes.
So, Nina, can you share that piece from Mr. Redding?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
1 moment. I pulled it up right before here. So this is the last thing he shared with me on June 4th, and it was just about his experience and the guild. So these are his words. I was told I wouldn't make it to C-25, that I was going to kill or be killed like some other guys. I'm still here, so don't you listen to them sucker lies. If you ain't on what I'm on, then I'm cutting ties. I ain't even in the streets. I got a 9 to 5. I chose restorative justice and stop hustling. Separate myself from these dudes who still bluffing. 30-plus years and you still don't have nothing to show for these old bulls still in the way. But I closed them old doors. But I got a pass. So what you think this poll for? I got a resolution, something real ill. Shout out to Rick, Juan, and Will, who put me in with the guild.
That's what's
So
up.
that's his ode. Yeah, that was his ode to the guild, the program that Greg spoke of earlier, that just basically gives folk a second chance, a real chance, without being branded their entire lives as not able to be rehabbed. So he was a perfect example of that, and it's unfortunate that he met that end during our process, but we said that we would lift up his name and let people know that he was a part of this, that he existed, he was a father, he was a good person, a good man. He worked for SEPTA, and I just wanted to honor him in that way.
Yeah. We also got a piece, we're gonna close out with that, a piece that you did, Lyrispect, for the program, and we have it on YouTube. Let's take a listen.
Okay.
Fighting for our lives in the midst of a pandemic. Limit access to tests so just the best get it. A compounded sentence with pre-existing conditions. We wear the mask and still take the fall with no forgiveness. But we will emerge illuminated, consumed, elated. Panacea unearthed when we concede the seeds of hatred. Tune out the frequency of rote memory. Forsake complacence. Fall in love with freedom like it was meant to be, I'm saying. Raise up our voices to penetrate the acreage, no longer complacent. We must emerge and awaken. We must.
All right, and we appreciate you both.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you
one
both.
more thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Greg, and let us know how we can get in touch with the program as well.
Awesome. That's what I was actually going to do. So we'll be hiring and starting a new guild on August 5th. If you know anybody out there between 18 to 26 years of age that is justice impacted or has ties to the system in some way or on probation in any way, please reach out to me at greg.corbin@muralarts.org. Greg.Corbin. Corbin is Corbin at muralarts.org. And check out the rest of the videos with the Emerge campaign, www.muralarts.org/emerge. There's a nice amount of videos on there. Thank you so much, Solomon. Really appreciate you, and Respect. You added so much value with this interview, and just I really appreciate you as well. Like I said, Greg, that's it.
All right. Go ahead, Lyrispect.
I just wanted to say thank you again for the opportunity. Everybody check out those PSAs, and the posters will be coming up if you want to follow me in the work I continue to do in activism with youth and with disproportionately affected communities. Follow me at Lyrispect. That's Lyrispect. That's me across social media, and that's lyrispect.com. Lyrispect.
All right. Well, I want to thank you both for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you,
Thanks so much,
Solomon.
Solomon.
Have a great day.
All right, we'll talk to
man,
y'all soon.
Keep up the work, man.
No doubt, no doubt. You better believe it. So I want to thank you both. We got about a minute left, and so I think we got one caller that we'll see if we can get to this one caller. 215-634-8065, of course, is the number. I want to thank everybody who joined us and who listened today on WURD. Devin? Derek is on the line. Go ahead, Derek.
Love, peace, blessings, and prosperity, Solomon.
Hey, brother.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Maintain, my man. Solomon, are you familiar with the 1877 Compromise?
That's the presidential election compromise. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, I am familiar with it. Y'all be asking me stuff, and I got to think of stuff from 1877 off the top of my head. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Come on.
But yes, I'm familiar with it. Yes, that's when they pulled the troops out during Reconstruction.
Right. And,
Yeah.
And after that, Solomon,
Yes.
we went downhill from the progression that we made.
That's true.
And I'm going to call next week if I get a chance and talk about it. But I wanted to put that out there and just see what your comments were on 1877.
Yeah, I think it was a key year, and I think that was when black people were sold out by the federal government of the United States. In order to settle a presidential election, black people were used as chips. So, yeah, I remember that. But you tested my education, bruh, and I appreciate it. I appreciate your callers, as usual, on WURD. And I want to thank everybody who joined us on today's show, including Greg Corbin and Nina Lirespect Ball from the Mural Arts program here in the city of Philadelphia. Also want to thank attorney Riley Ross III of Mincy Fitzpatrick and Ross, and of course financial consultant Akbar Hassan. And now for producer Jordan sitting in for Kawesa Mathis and everybody here at WURD Radio, I'm your host Solomon Jones saying stay tuned for The Source with Tiffany Bacon, and tune in Monday at 7 for more Wake Up with Word. Peace.